Chapter 895. Published at 30th of April 2022 11:27 and 8 seconds AM. Chapter 895. 895. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 895. Strength of the 11 demons. After their training with the demon ended, Li Jinsi approached Yuan, who went to pick up the demon core left behind by the demon, and said to him, "I don't need to rest. I want to practice my technique. I like your enthusiasm, but you should rest today. You've already spent the entire morning fighting with the demon. You need to let your muscles rest before you start practicing that technique." Yuan said to her. "Then tomorrow?" "Yes, well, start tomorrow." "Okay. Do you have some kind of special training for her?" Chu Liuxiang asked him. "Not really. I'm only there to make sure she doesn't hurt herself too much. After all, I'm the only one in this place who can stop her when she goes on a rampage," he said. "I see. Anyways, I'm going to take a bath and practice my demon sealing technique some more. Want to join me in the bath?" She calmly asked him, almost as though it was a normal routine to bathe together. "Sure." Yuan nodded his head without hesitation. Meanwhile, inside a luxurious restaurant somewhere in Spirit Heaven, the sect master of the Universal Music Academy, Sun Hao, sat before the patriarch of the Gu family. "It's been a while, Patriarch Gu. I hope your family has been well." Sun Hao greeted. "Indeed, it's been a few years. My family is doing well. I hope my nephew is not causing any troubles in your sect. If he is, don't hesitate to tell me. I will give him a good scolding." The two of them laughed for a good moment. "Anyways, I heard you have some information on the people that robbed my Gu family. Although it happened in the lower heaven, it is still a fact that they are a Gu family. No matter where it occurred, I cannot allow such insolence towards the Gu family." "Indeed. The person responsible for robbing your Gu family is someone named Yuan, is that correct?" "That's the information we had received from the lower heavens." Patriarch Gu nodded. "Well, I happened to meet that bastard a couple of days ago when he severed my arm." Sun Hao pointed at his missing left arm. "What?" Patriarch Gu's eyes widened with surprise. "I heard about what happened at the disciple examination. It was a tragedy. What a coincidence that the person who harmed you also happened to be the same person that robbed my Gu family. However, it makes sense. Truly fitting of someone so barbaric and disrespectful. Don't worry, Sect Master Sunday. I will make him pay for his crimes. I had only intended to imprison him for life, but I will now add torture to his punishment. In fact, I will remove his limbs and send them to you as a gift." "That sounds like music to my ears." Sun Hao laughed merrily. "Then Sect Master Sun, do you happen to know where he is currently located?" Patriarch Gu suddenly asked. "Unfortunately, I do not know where he is currently located, but I know where and how you can find him," Sun Hao said. And he continued, "That bastard will be heading to the stairway to heaven soon. You will find him at the site, or you can surround the area and wait for him to show up." "The stairway to heaven? He's planning on challenging it? Is he a spirit king?" Patriarch Gu showed a look of surprise. "No, he's a peak spirit lord, but you shouldn't underestimate him. In fact, treat him as though you're fighting a spirit king. You will need all of your experts if you want to deal with him, and he most likely won't be alone." Sun Hao said, purposefully not revealing to Patriarch Gu that Yuan had managed to defeat 6 sect masters of the 7 spirit academies all by himself, and it was an overwhelming defeat for them. "Yes, I heard that he was traveling in a small group the last time, and there is even a spirit king amongst them." The other Gu family said that the spirit king had the appearance of a little girl. "A little girl? There was a little girl with that bastard at the disciple examination. I didn't pay any attention to her due to the circumstances. To think that she was actually a spirit king," Sun Hao said. The two of them continued to chat with each other over some food and tea. About 2 hours later, Patriarch Gu returned to his family. After spending 2 days preparing for their mission, Patriarch Gu and over 1,000 people from the Gu family started making their way towards the stairway to heaven. Visit Me for extra chapters. Of course, this alarmed the neighboring cities and sects, and they wondered if the Gu family was going to war with such incredible military power. The following day, the manager returned to the demon sealing faction's household with another demon. "This demon looks weaker than the previous one," Wang Ming said after looking at the demon's appearance. "It was smaller and thinner than the last demon after all. Don't let its appearance fool you. This demon is 3 levels stronger than the last demon. The last demon only had the strength of a peak spirit warrior cultivator. This one is around 3rd level spirit master." "3rd level spirit master? That's as strong as the strongest cultivators in our families?" Wang Bingbing swallowed nervously. By the way, the next demon is around the 5th level. Yuan suddenly said. At 5th level? Can we even fight that thing? Hong Xiuquan exclaimed. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. Yuan nodded. Out of curiosity, what about the rest of the demons? There are a total of 11 demons, right? Wu Zhao asked. 3 of them have the strength of a peak spirit master. 2 of them are between the 3rd level and 4th level of spirit grandmaster. 2 more at the 6th and 7th level of spirit grandmaster. As for the last one, it has the strength of a 2nd level spirit lord. A 2nd level spirit lord? What's your cultivation again, Yuan? Wang Ming asked him in a nervous tone. 5th level spirit grandmaster. He calmly responded. What? You're 6 whole levels below the strongest demon. Are you sure that you can defeat it? Of course. He confidently responded. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 896. Published at 30th of April 2022 11:27 and 5 seconds AM. Chapter 896. 896. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 896. Not created for humans, don't worry, it's just 6 levels. I have fought demons an entire realm stronger in. Yuan gave him a confident thumbs up. But that's where you are much more powerful and have more resources to deal with demons? Wang Ming sighed. Sometime later, Yuan said, anyways, we'll begin training the day after tomorrow. I suggest you take this time to familiarize yourself with the demon. It will also have a much stronger aura than the previous demon, so prepare yourself mentally as well. After their briefing, Li Jinxi and Yuan went to another part of the training area, where they would not disturb the others with their training. Go ahead and use that technique whenever you're ready. However, don't just activate it. I want you to slowly increase your own strength using the technique. Remember, we're training on your control right now. Li Jinxi nodded and she closed her eyes. After taking a deep breath, she began using her technique. At first, her body would emit a small amount of killing intent, and it would steadily increase. However, after a few moments, almost as though she lost control, the red aura began expanding rapidly. Eventually, Li Jinxi completely lost control and she started going on a rampage. Her eyes snapped open, revealing her crimson eyes that flowed with killing intent. And she started attacking Yuan with her sword. Calm down. You can regain control. Yuan didn't immediately knock her out and tried to calm her down. A few minutes later, without any success, Yuan decided to knock Li Jinxi unconscious. After catching her falling body, he gently laid her on the ground. This is going to be more problematic than I'd anticipated, he sighed in a low voice. Li Jinxi would wake up shortly after. Do you feel any pain? He asked her. No, I am fine. Let's continue. Li Jinxi said. Thus, they continued to train until Li Jinxi started experiencing backlash an hour later. When that happened, Yuan carried her into her room and began massaging her body. Sorry for the inconvenience, she apologized to him while she soaked in medicine. Don't worry, I don't think it's bothersome. By the way, can you tell me more about the technique? If I understand it better, perhaps I can figure out how to train you. After pondering for a moment, she nodded. Wait until I am finished. Sure. An hour later, Li Jinxi emerged from the bathtub and left the bathroom while still soaking wet. You'll catch a cold like that. Yuan smiled. I have never caught a cold before, she calmly said. Then she walked to her closet and retrieved a wooden box from inside. Here. She handed the box to Yuan afterward. Yuan raised his eyebrows and opened the box to find a scroll inside. What's this? The technique, she calmly responded. You mean the actual technique? Isn't this supposed to be your family's secret technique? Are you sure you want to hand it to me? You should consult with your family first, Yuan said in a baffled voice. He didn't expect Li Jinxi to hand him the entire technique. It's fine. Nobody in the family can use the technique anyway. She calmly nodded. That's not the point. Yuan smiled. It's really fine. I won't tell my family, she said. All right, I will borrow it then. Yuan returned to his room shortly after. After returning to his room, Yuan began studying Li Jinxi's mysterious technique. There's no name for this technique? Yuan realized at glance that the technique was a nameless one. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. About an hour later, Yuan placed the technique down and started to ponder. I see. It's no wonder why most people cannot learn this technique. The strain it puts on one's body is simply ludicrous. In fact, this technique, it wasn't created for humans. Yuan became even more impressed by Li Jinxi after realizing this fact. I'm surprised she managed to learn this technique. But this begs the question. Who is this technique made for? Magical beasts? Divine beasts? And how did the Li family acquire this technique? Once he understood the technique, Yuan returned to Li Jinxi, who was resting in her bed. Come inside, Li Jinxi said after hearing his knock on the door. Hey, I am finished with the technique, so I am here to return it. I learned a few things about this technique that you should be aware of, Yuan said as he placed the scroll on the desk beside her desk. You're finished with the technique already? It's only been an hour. She stared at him with a baffled look on her face as she sat up on her bed. She's still naked? Yuan thought to himself after seeing Li Jinxi's appearance when the blankets moved. He then spoke. Yes, I have a lot of questions too, but first you should know the true nature of this technique. This nameless technique, it wasn't made for humans. Huh? Li Jinxi raised her eyebrows. Not made for humans? Is that why nobody else in my family could learn it? But how come I can learn it? Does this mean I'm not human? Li Jinxi looked more curious and fascinated than terrified at the possibility that she wasn't human. No, you're definitely human. The reason you're able to learn the technique is due to your unique physique. I noticed this when I massaged your body, but your muscles and bones are naturally beyond human capabilities, which allows your body to endure much more stress than normally capable. However, since you're human, you won't be able to fully utilize the technique's full capabilities, at least not in your current state. I see. Is this also why I have backlashes? Li Jinxi then asked. Yes. He nodded. Then what should I do? Since it's related to your physique, you must continue to strengthen your body. I believe that will be your fastest way to master this technique. The next is your control. As long as you can control the technique so that it doesn't exceed your limits, you won't experience any backlashes. But I have been doing that since I started cultivating, she said. Yes, but have you ever been pushed to your absolute limits? He asked. Pushed to my limits? Li Jinxi raised her eyebrows in a questioning manner. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 897, published at 2nd of May 2022, 12:09 and 21 seconds p.m. Chapter 897. 897. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 897. Training. Yes. Have you ever been pushed to the point where you could not even lift a single finger? Have you ever been so exhausted that you thought you'd die by running out of breath? Have you ever risked your life in training? Yuan asked. Li Jinxi pondered for a moment before shaking her head. No, not really. You can achieve immense growth in a short period of time if you continue to push yourself to your very limit every day. Of course, this could actually damage one's body, but this only applies to ordinary people. Jinxi, you have an amazing body, a physique blessed by the heavens. If anyone should train in such a manner, it should be you. However, it's not going to be easy. You will experience intense pain. Hell, you might even die. I want to do it. Li Jinxi responded without hesitation. Even if you might die? She nodded. Yuan smiled. Although nobody knows about it, had almost died hundreds of times inside his room during his 20 years of seclusion. There were times when he wanted to quit and sleep eternally, but he would always get back up and train until he was at death's door. But because of his insane and reckless training, he was able to acquire the strength to defeat demons in such a short time. How does your body feel right now? Yuan asked her a moment later. A little sore, but that's it. Good. Get dressed and meet me in the training area. We're going to continue your training. Yes. Sometime later they returned to the training area. Use the nameless technique and attack me. I won't just be avoiding and defending this time. Li Jinxi nodded and activated the nameless technique, causing her bloodlust to reappear. However, before she could even make a move, Yuan suddenly dashed forward and threw a powerful punch at her face. Li Jinxi subconsciously blocked the attack with her sword, but she was still sent flying by the impact. So strong. What are you doing? Hurry up and focus. Fight me. Try to kill me. Yuan shouted as he approached her again. Li Jinxi clenched her teeth and started attacking him with the intention to kill. However, Yuan suddenly released his killing intent, halting her movements for a brief second. Yuan used this chance to connect his fist with her stomach, sending her flying for a second time. After stabilizing herself, Li Jinsi immediately puked out everything she ate for breakfast. She lifted her head a moment later to look at Yuan, who was slowly approaching her with an immense amount of killing intent flowing from his body. Her entire body trembled in fear. For the first time in her life she was fearing for her life. Get up. You will never achieve your full potential with such half-assed effort. Yuan shouted at her, snapping her out of her daze. Yeah. Li Jinsi stood up and released a war cry before running at him again. What the hell are they doing? The manager watched them from a distance with a puzzled face. She thought they were training at first, but it looked too brutal to be training, and Yuan was pummeling Li Jinsi like she had killed his family. Due to the loud nature of their training, the others also noticed the commotion in the training area, and they were all shocked by what they saw. Holy shit. What's happening? Why are they going at each other's throat? Wang Ming asked the others. I'm not sure. Should we stop them and ask for an explanation? Wang Bingbing said. They're probably training. Chu Liuxiang said. You call that training? It looks like a one-sided beatdown to me. Shilang said. God. I have never seen Li Jinsi in such a beaten state before. She looks like she's on the verge of death. Shi Murong mumbled in a dazed voice. In the end, nobody went to stop them. They believed in Yuan and Li Jinsi, that they had a good reason to be fighting each other in such a manner. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The training lasted for 3 whole hours, stopping when Li Jinsi was covered in her own blood and completely unconscious. Of course, Li Jinsi had lost consciousness a couple of times during the 3 hours, but they only lasted for a brief moment, and she would continue to train immediately after waking up. As Yuan carried her seemingly lifeless body back to the house, everyone rushed to him. What the hell happened, Yuan? Wang Ming was the first to ask. It's him? We were only training. He calmly said. Training? It looked like you wanted to kill her, Shilang said. Yuan smiled and said, I will explain everything to you after I get her cleaned up. I will help you, Meishu said. Okay, thank you. After Yuan brought Li Jinsi back to her room, Meishu helped wash her body. Sometime later, after putting Li Jinsi in her bed, Yuan returned to the others and explained the situation to them. The technique she had been using wasn't created for humans? Wow, that's unexpected. I never knew that such a thing even existed, Wu Zhao said. I get that you're trying to push Li Jinsi to her limit, but that would be pointless if she becomes bedridden for the next week, right? Wang Ming asked. Yuan smiled and said, She'll be fine. In fact, she'll wake up tomorrow like nothing happened. This is all because of her unique physique. Also, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Jinsi was able to use her nameless technique throughout our entire training without experiencing any backlash. And now that you mention it, their eyes widened upon this realization. How did you do it? Wang Bingbing asked. It's simple. I used only my fists for a reason. Every time I punch her body, it would release some of the built-up tension in her muscles, allowing her to continue using the technique without reaching her maximum threshold as quickly. Yuan explained. I see. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 898. Published at 2nd of May 2022 12:09 and 19 seconds p.m. Chapter 898. 898 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 898. Understanding the nameless technique. Sometime later, Yuan returned to his room while the others returned to their own training. Li Jinsi woke up the following morning with an incredible headache and feeling like she'd been hit by a truck recently. Am I still alive? She mumbled in a dazed voice. It wasn't clear to her at first, but her memories of yesterday's training eventually resurfaced. He was really ruthless yesterday. I have never been beaten like that, ever. A slight smile appeared on her face without her awareness. Knock knock, it's me. Are you awake? Yuan's voice suddenly resounded. Yes, come inside. Yuan entered the room the next moment. How are you feeling? He asked her. Li Jinsi turned to look at Yuan and said with a bittersweet smile, My body hurts like hell. I might have gone too far for your first session. Sorry. No, I needed that. I have never suffered such a defeat before. It really opened my eyes. Do you wish to continue? Yuan suddenly asked. Of course. Li Jinsi immediately responded without any hesitation in her voice. You'll wake up every day like this, you know? As long as I can become stronger. After a moment of silence, Yuan asked, Why are you so desperate to acquire strength? You might not believe me, but I really don't have any motivation, at least I didn't until very recently. I enjoy fighting and improving myself. It's as simple as that. She calmly responded. I see. Then what is your motivation now? You have one now, right? Li Jinsi did not immediately answer. She slowly got off the bed and stood on her feet despite the pain coursing through her body. She then walked to stand in front of Yuan. You're my motivation now. I want to defeat you. Yuan smiled and said, It's not going to be easy. I know, but I won't stop training until I defeat you, no matter how long it'll take. And she continued, Go wait for me in the training area. I will be there in a bit. You want to train with your body like that? That's reckless. I can handle it, she said. However, Yuan shook his head and said, Go soak in some medicine first. They'll meet you in the training area in a few hours. Okay. While Li Jinsi went to soak in medicine, Yuan returned to his own room. He then took a seat on the floor in the lotus position and took a deep breath. Even though they are different techniques, they function almost the same. I wonder if I will be able to control that golden aura if I deepen my understanding with Li Jinsi's nameless technique? In just a few moments, a red aura began appearing around Yuan's body. Although Head learned Li Jinsi's nameless technique, he doesn't have any intentions to use it. After all, he was only doing this to gain a better understanding for the technique. Furthermore, his golden aura was vastly superior to the nameless technique. I have only absorbed 2,000 years worth of Tianquen's memories right now, but there is nothing about the golden aura in these memories. Just how long did Tianquan live? When does he learn to use the golden aura? However, there's no need to be impatient. I have already managed to activate it once. I will eventually be able to control it. Yuan would continue to study the nameless technique for the next few hours until he met up with Li Jinsi in the training area, where he would proceed to beat her until she was at the verge of death. How long are you two going to train like this? Meishio asked him as she washed Li Jinsi's bloody figure. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I'm not sure, but it'll probably be for a while. You don't have to clean her if you don't want to. I can do it by myself. You're probably better off using this time to train yourself after all. Yuan responded from outside the bathroom. No, I can do this. It doesn't take that much time, and it's not like I can let you wash the body of another woman, Meishio said with a slightly rosy face. Yuan smiled and said, Don't worry, I won't do anything I am not supposed to do to her. I already have you and Lulu after all. The redness on Meixia's face immediately deepened and she spoke, That's not what I am worried about. Sometime later, Meishio left the bathroom with Li Jinsi still unconscious in her arms. Thank you, Meishio. Yuan said to her as she placed Li Jinsi's body on the bed. You should go easier on her, Yuan. It feels weird seeing you beating on a young lady, even if she's someone like Li Jinsi. Yuan chuckled, I can't help it. Ordinary training methods won't work on her. And after realizing how much talent she has, it makes me want to see her full potential. Meishio sighed, You've really changed, Yuan? Huh? What do you mean? Not long ago you didn't even know the difference between a man and a woman. Now look at you. You're a competent teacher who has trained even an entire family of demon sealers. Your demeanor has also changed. It pained me to even look at you before because you were always depressed, but you're now brimming with confidence. If Yuro could see you now, I doubt she would even recognize you. Yuroha. Meishio, this might be a weird question, but who do you prefer? The old me or the new me? Yuan faced her with a serious look on his face. That's not a fair question, Yuan. It puts me in an awkward position. It's not a question that I can answer. However, if I have to be honest, I like how we can talk with each other while being on the same page, something that was not really possible back then. For example, the words I love you would have a different meaning if I said it to the old you and the current you. Do you understand? Yuan chuckled, Yes, I understand. I am well aware of how naive I was back then, and I'm sorry for all of the inconveniences it caused you. Meishio shook her head while blushing. Anyways, are you free now? Yuan suddenly asked her. Besides training, I don't have anything else. Before she could even finish her sentence, Yuan picked her up and carried her like a princess. Why, Yuan? I want to thank you properly for helping me today. Let's go to your room. Yuan smiled. Oh, okay. Meishio immediately understood the meaning behind his words and nodded in a bashful manner. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 899. Published at 2nd of May 2022 12:09 and 18 seconds p.m. Chapter 899. 899 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 899. New product. After carrying Meishio to her room, Yuan locked the door behind him and laid her on the bed. Once they were fully prepared, they entangled their naked bodies together and began moving passionately with each other. 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. Speaking of Yuro, it should be her birthday soon, right? I stopped paying attention to the dates long ago. Yuan said as he laid on the bed with Meishio resting her head on his arm, feeling incredibly refreshed and relaxed. Her birthday is next month. In 17 days to be exact. Meishio said without needing to think. We should give her a visit. Yuan then said. What about the demons? He'll take care of them long before then. Yuan smiled. Then do you have any idea what you want to give her? No, I was going to ask you for advice. What do you think she'll like? It's been forever since I last celebrated her birthday. I think she'll be happy no matter what you give her. I know, but that's not fun. I need to give her something grand, something worthy of my precious little sister. Sometime later, Meishio got dressed and left to prepare for dinner. At dinner, to everybody's surprise, Li Jinxi showed up. Are you sure you should be moving around right now? Wang Ming asked her. I'm fine, she calmly replied. My God, it took you an entire day to wake up yesterday. You're progressing a little too fast, don't you think? Shi Lang mumbled in a dazed voice. I have a good teacher, she said as she turned to look at Yuan. How do you even endure such beating? Are you perhaps a masochist? Li Jinxi immediately glared at the person who just spoke, Shi Murong, with a dangerous gaze. I am just joking, Shi Murong swallowed nervously. Even in Li Jinxi's current state, he would still lose to her in a fight. Your jokes are getting worse and worse, she sneered. Sorry. After dinner, everyone but Meishio returned to their rooms to rest. Where are you going so late at night? The manager asked after noticing her. To the convenience store, she hastily replied. The manager raised her eyebrows in a questioning manner, but she didn't actually ask any questions. Even though the store is open 24/7, there's no need for her to go there now. Oh well, it's none of my business. The manager calmly turned around and walked to the guest room. Meishio sighed in relief and left the building shortly after. Sometime later, she entered the convenience store. Welcome. A new woman that Meishio did not recognize was at the counter today. Hello. Where is the other worker? She asked. She just finished her shift about an hour ago. I work the night shifts. I see. Anyways, how may I help you? In response, Meishio took out her box of birth control pills and placed it on the counter. Can I have another box? Meishio asked, feeling a lot less embarrassed compared to her previous visit. Sure thing. The clerk smiled and took out another box of birth control pills from under the counter. Thank you, Meishio said. However, just as she went to pick up the box, the clerk spoke. By the way, we have a new product that came in just 2 days ago. Do you want to try it out? What new product? Meishio raised an eyebrow. This. The woman then retrieved a small packet that contained 4 red medicine capsules. What's this? Meishio asked. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. It's a stimulator of sorts. It will not only give you more energy during your sexy time with your partner, it will even stimulate your senses, allowing you to feel more pleasure. It's quite new, but it's already gained a lot of popularity regardless of the age. Oh, it can be used for either gender. Even if you don't need it, I recommend you try it at least once. It will greatly enhance your sex life, speaking from personal experience. The clerk winked at Meishio in a suggestive manner. Meishio swallowed nervously. I guess I can give it a try. After bagging both items, Meishio quickly returned to her room. The following day, everybody gathered in the training area once again. You will all be fighting this demon today, and since it's stronger than the previous one, you'll return to your original groups, the one with 4 to 5 people. Yuan said to them. He turned to face Li Jinxi and asked her, How do you feel? Never been better, she said. Good. They'll give you all 10 minutes to prepare yourselves. Then I will unseal the demon. Yuan. Li Jinxi suddenly approached him. Yes. I have a request. Can I fight the demon by myself? Yuan began pondering. In your current state, you'll be able to use the nameless technique for at most 10 minutes before you lose control. Your demon sealing aura isn't strong enough to seal it within that time even if it allows you to attack it non-stop. You can try fighting it without the nameless technique, but you won't be its match. In other words, you won't defeat it. I know that I won't be able to seal it, but I still want to fight it by myself. It's for experience. After pondering for a moment, Yuan nodded, all right. You can fight it by yourself. He then turned to look at Wang Ming and said, you'll replace Li Jinxi and transfer to Group 1. Huh? Why am I replacing her? Wang Ming asked. She wants to fight the demon by herself. What? Are you crazy? You could barely hold your utensils at dinner yesterday. That was yesterday. I'm fine now. Li Jinxi said. Fuck, she's really inhuman. She must have been adopted into the Li family, and her real parents are gorillas. Shi Murong mumbled in a low voice. I heard that. Li Jinxi snapped to glare at him. Huh? I didn't say anything. Shi Murong immediately turned around and began whistling. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 900. Published at 2nd of May 2022 12:09 and 17 seconds p.m. Chapter 900. 900 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 900. Drastic improvement. Sometime later, the first group entered the demon sealing zone and waited for Yuan to unseal the demon. Once it was unsealed, the demon looked around in a calm manner. However, that calmness quickly went away when it saw Chu Liuxiang and the others surrounding it. What is the meaning of this? The demon spoke in a grim voice. They are demon sealers and they will be sealing you, demon. Yuan said. And he continued, you are currently within the demon sealing zone, so don't even think about escaping. Of course, you could kill yourself with core detonation. However, if you accept my request, I will set you free. The demon narrowed its eyes on Yuan, who was wearing a mask. It then turned to look at the others there. What is your request? It's quite simple, really. I want you to fight these demon sealers for the next 7 days. If you can do that, I will set you free. What if I kill them? You can try, but it won't happen. If I can kill them, will you let me free early? Sure. Yuan calmly nodded. Perfect. A malicious grin appeared on the demon's face. The demon sealers and the demon clashed with each other shortly after. The demon sealers expected to quickly overpower the demon, but they soon realized that would not be the case, and the demon was able to defend itself and counterattack at the same time. Compared to the last demon, it was at least twice as hard, and it would take them thrice as long to seal the demon. Of course, none of them would end up unscathed. Most of them left the demon sealing zone with bruises. In fact, all of them had experienced near-death situations more than once during their fight. Holy shit. How can 3 levels make such a huge difference? We could barely keep up with the demon this time, Wang Ming exclaimed as he laid on the floor, his body soaked in sweat. I don't think we'll be able to fight the demon more than once a day, Chu Liuxiang said while gasping for air. How long did it take to seal the demon? It felt like an eternity, Shi Murong asked. 2 hours and 11 minutes. Wang Bingbing said. 2 hours. It only took us 30 minutes to seal the last one. Hong Xiuquan exclaimed. Shortly after the first group finished, the second group entered the demon sealing zone and started fighting the demon. In the end, it took them a little under 2 hours to seal the demon. 1 hour and 51 minutes. Wang Ming said to them. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but to think it was that much harder, Wang Bingbing sighed. Yuan approached the exhausted demon sealers and said to them, at this rate, you won't be able to seal the next demon. Therefore, I will be teaching all of you new demon sealing techniques. Oh, how many? Wang Ming asked out of curiosity. I have 3 demon sealing techniques for each of you. 3? Yuan nodded. It might take some time before you're able to use them, but that's not the real purpose. I want you all to increase your demon sealing aura. It's taking all of you too long to seal the demon and you're in a group. At this rate, it'll take you an entire day to seal the demon by yourself. Anyways, line up. I will give you these techniques now. Thus, everybody there began lining up in front of him. Sometime later, Yuan transferred 3 demon sealing techniques to each of them. Everyone here besides Jinxi can leave for today. You can also take tomorrow off to study these new techniques. Since I transferred the techniques directly into your mind, you'll be able to comprehend it faster than normal. Once everyone but Li Jinxi left, Yuan said to her, whenever you're ready, visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Li Jinxi nodded and entered the demon sealing zone. The moment Yuan released the demon, Li Jinxi activated her nameless technique. Just one of you this time? The demon grinned when it saw Li Jinxi. However, despite only facing Li Jinxi, the demon did not underestimate her. In fact, he knew at a glance that she was the strongest out of everyone it's faced today. The two of them began exchanging blows shortly after. Li Jinxi easily overpowered the demon in terms of raw strength and speed, but that did not last long. After 10 minutes of dominance, Li Jinxi could no longer control the nameless technique and began experiencing a backlash. However, despite feeling like her muscles were being torn apart, Li Jinxi continued to fight the demon for a couple more minutes until she could no longer lift even a single finger. "You're mine." The demon laughed as it lunged forward at the unconscious Li Jinxi. "Maybe next time." Yuan suddenly appeared behind the demon with the Empyrean Overlord in his grasp. "What?" The demon didn't notice Yuan's presence until it was too late. Its body immediately began turning into stone. All it took was a single strike? The demon stared at Yuan in disbelief as it completely turned into stone. After sealing the demon, Yuan carried Li Jinxi into her room and began massaging her body. 2 days later, the training resumed. This time, it took the first group only an hour to seal the demon while the second group took around 50 minutes. It was a drastic improvement that nobody there but Yuan had expected. This continued until the 7th day, where it would take both groups only 15 minutes to seal the demon. As for Li Jinxi, she was able to use the nameless technique for 20 minutes straight. "Great job, everyone. It appears that you're all ready for the next demon," Yuan said to them after their training. "What are you going to do with the demon now?" Wang Ming asked him. "I'm going to free it, of course," Yuan responded with a calm smile on his face, causing everyone to swallow nervously. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 901. Published at 2nd of May 2022 12:09 and 16 seconds p.m. Chapter 901. 901 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 901. Why are you wearing a mask? Yuan entered the demon sealing zone and unsealed the demon shortly after Li Jinxi finished her turn. "I have fulfilled your request, human. You'll set me free as promised." The demon stared at Yuan with a solemn expression. "Yes, don't worry, I will set you free," Yuan said as he approached the demon. "What are you planning?" The demon frowned upon sensing that something was wrong. However, before it could even react, Yuan extended his hand and grabbed the crystal embedded on its body. What is the meaning of this, human?" The demon roared at Yuan. "What else? I'm setting you free." "Fucking bullshit. You lied to me, human." "I didn't lie. You just misunderstood the meaning behind my words, that's all." "Fuck you, you damn livestock." The demon became enraged and rushed at Yuan. "You'll be truly free now," Yuan mumbled in a low voice as he crushed the demon's crystal, instantly killing the demon. The others were left speechless by Yuan's actions. "He killed the demon just like that?" Wang Ming muttered in disbelief. "Why, Yuan? Why didn't the demon die when we struck its crystal? I know ID destroyed it a few times during our training." Shirlang asked him. "That's because it requires a certain technique and a certain level of demon sealing aura to achieve this feat. When you all become strong enough, I will teach you this technique," Yuan said to them. "It's a promise?" "Of course. Anyways, the next demon won't be unsealed for another week, but I can unseal it early. Take the next 5 days off. I will deal with the other demons in the meantime." "All right." Yuan approached the manager afterward and said, "Can you bring all of the demons here tomorrow?" "All of them?" The manager stared at him with wide eyes. "Yes. We could wait for them to break out of their seal one by one, or I can kill them all at once." "Why the sudden rush?" she asked. "I just remembered that my sister's birthday is coming up soon, so I want to clean things up before I go," he calmly said. "Is that so? All right, I will speak with the Lord." The manager nodded. "What's wrong? Is there something on my face?" Yuan asked when she continued to stare at him. "I've been meaning to ask you this, but why are you wearing a mask?" "All this? The demons would lose all desire to fight if they see my face, and I don't want that," Yuan explained without really going into the details. "Why would they lose desire to fight if they see your face? That doesn't make any sense," the manager asked out of curiosity. "I don't know. I guess they really hate my face or something." Yuan casually shrugged. "So he doesn't want to tell me how, whatever." The manager left shortly after, returning to the peak of the mountain to notify the Lord of the situation. "He wants to deal with all of the demons at once? I don't have any problems with that. In fact, that's exactly what I want. The manager then asked, once he defeats all of the demons, are you really going to tell him the truth? He probably already knows the truth. Do you remember what he said? That we came from the 9 heavens? Of course. Then he's already aware of the fact that the 9 heavens truly exist somewhere in this universe, which is already a third of what we're going to tell him. We might as well tell him everything at this point. I guess so, the manager sighed. The following morning, the manager arrived at Yuan's household with a truck meant for moving furniture. After parking in the training area, she proceeded to bring out the remaining 9 demons, placing them in an orderly fashion and in the order they would break out of their seal. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Can you put this one to the side for now? It's going to be the other's practice tool. Yuan pointed at a certain sealed demon and asked the manager. All right. What about the other demons? Which do you want to kill first? I will handle them all at once. It's more convenient that way after all. The manager frowned and said, I know you're strong and all, but you shouldn't be so arrogant. You should take the situation more seriously and be more cautious and deal with them one by one. Yuan sighed. Fine. I will kill 2 of them at once and then I will deal with the strongest one by itself at the end. Did you even hear me just now? One time. You're underestimating me now, Leah? Yuan smiled. How about this? If you let me fight 2 of them at once, I will fight them without a mask. Deal. The manager immediately agreed, leaving Yuan speechless. Was this her intention from the beginning? He wondered inwardly. While the manager moved 2 of the 9 demons into Yuan's demon sealing zone, the others gathered around the area with transportable chairs, acting as though they were going to an outdoor movie. Okay, I am ready, the manager said to Yuan after she finished moving the demons. Thank you, Yuan said as she entered the demon sealing zone. He's not wearing his mask today? Wang Bingbing noticed this and asked the others. Why does he even feel the need to wear a mask? Wang Ming asked. Do you know? Shi Murong turned to ask Chu Liuxiang. I don't. What about you, Meishio? Chu Liuxiang asked her next. I don't. She shook her head. Even you don't know? The others were surprised. Out of everyone there they expected Meishio to know. While the others mumbled to each other, Yuan unsealed the demons. Ha! I am free. Free. The 2 demons in the demon sealing zone immediately started laughing out loud. Yuan patiently waited for the demons to notice him. When the demons eventually noticed Yuan, they stopped laughing and stared at him with their eyes as wide as saucers. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 902. Published at 3rd of May 2022 5:39 and 27 seconds p.m. Chapter 902. 902 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 902. Terrified demons, Hey? To that human. Doesn't he look a lot like? Yes. He looks like the D. Before the 2 demons could even fully comprehend the situation, Yuan used his movement technique to instantly close their distance. Wah. Too late. The demons tried to distance themselves from Yuan, but it was too late, as Head grabbed their demon crystals before they could even move. Why? And before the demons could even utter a full word, Yuan crushed the crystals, instantly killing them. In fact, not even 10 seconds have passed since the demons were released from their seals. Fear? Impossible. The manager stared at Yuan with her eyes wide with shock and puzzlement. Why would they fear Yuan? No. Can demons even feel fear? It also seemed like the demons recognized him. No. Those demons have been sealed for countless years. There's no way that they could have recognized him. That wouldn't make any logical sense. The manager pondered a logical explanation to the phenomenon that had just happened. Leah. Yuan suddenly called for her, bringing her back to reality. Can you bring in the next 2 demons? Che. The manager sucked her teeth before carrying 2 more demons into the demon sealing zone. Why do I have to carry them anyway? She wondered inwardly as she placed the last demon into the zone. Thanks. Yuan unsealed the demons shortly after. The demons instantly noticed Yuan's presence this time around, and when they saw his face, just like the previous 2 demons, their eyes widened with shock and terror. This is definitely the scent of fear. They're fearing him. Why? Demons have never feared humans before. The manager was feeling agitated at this point. Then she recalled something the Lord had once told her. No. There was one entity that demons feared. The Bane of Demons, also known as the Divine Paragon, who freed the 9 heavens from the demon clan's domination. However, she couldn't connect the dot between the Divine Paragon and Yuan. After all, these two individuals lived in 2 different worlds and eras. There was simply no connection between them. Of course, since she has never seen the Divine Paragon's face before, there was no way that she would have realized the truth. While the manager was absorbed in her thoughts, Yuan killed the 2 demons. In the blink of an eye, Yuan had killed half of the 8 demons. You called me inhuman, right? If I am inhuman, what do you call someone like him? Li Jinsi asked Shimurong, who was too shocked to even speak. However, inside his mind he could only think of a single word that could describe Yuan. God. Sometime later, the manager carried 2 more demons into the demon sealing zone. Why you are? I am possible. You can't be. Once again Yuan killed the demons before they could even finish a full sentence. Of course, it was made easier due to the demon's fear and confusion. He's definitely doing this on purpose. What is he trying to hide? The manager could feel her entire body heating up from anger. Manager, the next one. Yuan waved at her with a smile on his face, which only further irritated her. Sometime later, Yuan unsealed and killed the 7th demon, leaving only 1 demon, not including the demon that will become a practice tool. After the manager carried the final demon into the demon sealing zone, Yuan said to her, I told you it would be more convenient to just kill them all at once. What are you trying to hide from me, Yuan? Why are the demons fearful of you? She asked him. Huh? I have no idea what you're talking about. Yuan shrugged. To this bastard. The manager gritted her teeth in frustration, but there was nothing she could do about it, nor could she blame him for wanting to keep a secret. After all, she has a secret or two herself. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Yuan unsealed the Spirit Lord demon a few moments later, and to everyone's surprise he didn't immediately attack it. The Spirit Lord demon stared at Yuan with wide eyes, but it didn't utter a single word. In fact, it refused to. The Divine Paragon? Why the fuck is he here? The demon cried inwardly. It was so spooked by Yuan's appearance that it didn't even notice his cultivation base. Why did he unseal me? Is he going to torture me like the rumors? The demon trembled in fear when it recalled the countless horror stories about the Divine Paragon, with torture being one of the most common story. Fuck this shit. I'd rather die than be tortured by the Divine Paragon. And without any hesitation, the demon destroyed its own crystal. What? It's killing itself already? The others were shocked when the demon suddenly started glowing bright red, almost as though there was a powerful light source illuminating the demon from within. I don't think so. Yuan suddenly summoned the Empyrean Overlord and tossed it at the demon, piercing it right in its chest. What? The demon exclaimed in a shocked voice when its chaotic energy was sealed quicker than it could expand. However, since the demon had already destroyed its crystal, it wouldn't be saved just because it was sealed before it could explode. A few moments after the demon was completely sealed, its body began breaking down itself until it was nothing but a pile of dust. The entire place was dead silent as everybody there stared at the pile of dust until the wind carried it away, leaving nothing but a demon core behind. The strongest demon killed itself? What? Because of Yuan's face? The manager nearly fell onto her buttocks after witnessing such a ridiculous outcome. There's only 1 demon left now. Make sure you all practice your demon sealing techniques before then. Yuan said to the others. Oh, okay, they all nodded in a dazed manner. Once everyone returned to the household, the manager approached Yuan and said to him, Follow me. Where are we going? He asked. To speak with the Lord. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 903. Published at 7th of May 2022, 5:25 and 53 seconds AM. Chapter 903. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 903. Unread messages, the Lord? What? Yuan raised his eyebrows. Now that you have defeated the strongest demon, it will only be a matter of time before the last demon is dealt with. Do you remember your conversation with the Lord? That he'd tell you the truth if you take care of his demon problem? Yeah, I remember. Yuan nodded. And he continued, however, there is still 1 demon left. Until I kill the last demon, I won't speak with him. After all, it was part of the agreement. Don't you want to know the truth about and the Lord's identity? The manager frowned at him. Of course I do, but I'm in no rush. Why are you so impatient to tell me the truth, though? Did something happen? He smiled at her. No. Forget it then. The manager left the place shortly after. Yuan returned to his room shortly after and practiced the nameless technique. During dinner, Yuan said, Meishio Lulu Jinsi, we're going to make our way to the stairway to heaven tomorrow. You're ascending already? Wang Ming asked. No, not yet. I will do it after my sister's birthday, which is in about 2 weeks. Your sister? This was news to some of the people there. Yes, my younger sister Yuro. She's currently at another faction. What was the name of their faction again? Eternal Lotuses. Meishio said. Right. Eternal Lotuses. Oh, I've heard about them. They're a pretty popular and powerful female-only faction. Wang Bingbing said. We should probably notify her before we see her. They forbid men from visiting. Meishio said. But I don't want to ruin the surprise, Yuan sighed. I know. Meishio, can you contact the leader of the Eternal Lotuses? I will talk with the leader directly and receive permission so that it wouldn't ruin the surprise. All right. I will contact the Cultivators Association and ask them to set up a schedule. Thank you. After dinner, Meishio returned to her own room and called Chairman Li, the head of the Cultivators Association. After a single ring, Chairman Li picked up the phone and spoke in an excited voice. Hello. Hello, Chairman Li. This is Meishio from the Demon Sealing faction. Oh, Lady Meishio. I have been waiting for your call. Chairman Li sounded as though he was on the verge of crying through the phone. Lady Meishio? Meishio raised an eyebrow. Lady Meishio, before you say anything, I must ask, have you checked your email since the creation of the Demon Sealing faction? Chairman Li suddenly asked. Email? No, I haven't. What? You should probably take a look at it. You will understand quicker that way. Okay, give me a minute. Meishio went to grab her laptop and checked her email. Meishio was shocked when she saw how many unread messages were in her email. Unread messages, 9,999 plus. There were many types of messages. Messages from people who wanted to join the Demon Sealing faction, messages from other factions that were hoping to form an alliance with them, and most of all, messages from news organizations that wanted to interview their faction, mostly Yuan. After the creation of the Demon Sealing faction, news of player Yuan being its leader spread like wildfire, and people from all over the world wanted to contact them. Visit Readle.me for extra chapters. However, the only way to contact them was through Meishio's email, which she'd neglected until now. Because of this, people started contacting the Cultivators Association instead, but there was nothing they could do besides sending more messages to Meishio. Sorry? I'd completely forgotten about it. Meishio apologized to Chairman Li after realizing her mistake. It's all right. Better late than never. Chairman Li chuckled. Anyways, is there anything the Cultivators Association can do for you, Lady Meishio? Yes, I have a request. Yuan would like to speak with the leader of the Eternal Lotuses. Can you contact them and let them know? The leader of Eternal Lotuses? That would be White Lotus. May I ask for a reason? The Eternal Lotuses will want to know your reason as well. Yuan's little sister is a member of the Eternal Lotuses, and it will be her birthday soon. He wants to surprise her with a visit, but the Eternal Lotuses don't allow men to enter, so we were hoping to work something out. Yuan's little sister? I understand. I will contact White Lotus after this, but she might not respond for a while. They're a powerful faction with a popular leader, so they're bound to be very busy. I understand. Thank you. No need to be humble, Lady Meishio. The Cultivators Association is here for you. Chairman Li said. Of course, only powerful factions like the Demon Sealing faction could receive such privileges. After hanging up, Meishio placed her phone beside the bed and started going through some unread messages out of curiosity. Meanwhile, Chairman Li called the Eternal Lotus's headquarters. Hello, this is Chairman Li of the Cultivators Association. I have some important matters to discuss with White Lotus. Miss Bai is currently cultivating. Can this wait until tomorrow? White Lotus manager answered the phone. I don't mind waiting. Tell White Lotus that player Yuan from the Demon Sealing faction would like to speak with her. Call me back when you're ready to speak. That's all. Wait. Did you just say player? However, Chairman Li closed the connection before the manager could even finish her sentence. Of course, this was on purpose as it would give them more pressure and a sense of urgency. After staring at her phone in a dazed manner for many moments, the manager went to look for White Lotus. Miss Bai, I apologize for bothering you during your cultivation, but this is urgent. The manager knocked on her door. A few moments later, a white-haired beauty opened the door and appeared before the manager. What is it? Chairman Li from the Cultivators Association just called, and he said that player Yuan from the Demon Sealing faction would like to speak with you. White Lotus immediately narrowed her eyes upon hearing this information. Player Yuan? Why would he want to speak with me? She curiously wondered. Chapter 904. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 53 seconds AM. Chapter 904. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 904. Silver Spirit Grass. White Lotus was surprised and confused at the same time when she received news that player Yuan had reached out to her. According to her knowledge, Yuan has never reached out to any other player, and this only further increased her curiosity. What could player Yuan possibly want from her when he seemingly already has everything? Call Chairman Li back and tell him to let player Yuan know that I am willing to speak with him. However, I'd like to do it in if that's possible. Why you want to speak with player Yuan in? Her manager looked at her with wide eyes. Aren't you curious? The infamous player Yuan who's been dominating since day one. His achievements are light years ahead of everyone else, and he acquired most of them within the first month. However, he's been awfully quiet since his last announcement when he opened the stairway to heaven to the second world, almost as though he'd disappeared from this world. Okay, I will call Chairman Li now. A few moments later, Chairman Li picked up his phone. This is Chairman Li. Good evening, Chairman Li. This is Bai Lianhua. Is it true that player Yuan wants to speak with me? White Lotus asked. Yes, that is true. I'm sure you're curious as to why. Let me tell? No, don't tell me. I want to ask him for myself. White Lotus interrupted. If that's what you wish. When are you available? I will help the two of you schedule an online chat room, where the two of you can chat with each other. That's not necessary. I wish to speak with player Yuan in person. Tell him that I will be at the Wuxia Pavilion in Wuxia City in 3 hours. It's very close to the starting city in the second world. If he's not able to make it there in time, I can wait for him. Okay, I will let them know of your response. I will call you back when I get their response. Chairman Li hung up the phone and called Meishio. This is Chairman Li. I have just contacted White Lotus of the Eternal Lotuses. She agrees to meet with player Yuan, but she wishes to meet him in 3 hours. The location is at Wuxia Pavilion in Wuxia City by the starting city in the second world. Is he able to make it? Give me a minute. I will go ask him right now. Meishio placed the phone down and went to knock on Yuan's door. Once Yuan opened the door, Meishio relayed the news to him. I see. Wuxia Pavilion in Wuxia City, right? Let them know that I will be there. Yuan nodded. While Yuan logged into, Meishio told Chairman Li of the situation. Thank you, I will let White Lotus know immediately. No, thank you for the help. Meishio said before hanging up. After logging into Cultivation Online, Yuan immediately began making his way towards Wuxia City. Since the destination was quite close to the starting city in Spirit Heaven, it didn't take even an hour for Yuan to arrive. After arriving at the city, Yuan decided to take a tour around the city since he had plenty of time left before the meeting. Since I am going to be asking White Lotus for a favor, I should probably give her a gift, right? First impressions are quite important after all. With that in mind, Yuan began pondering what he should gift White Lotus. Then he recalled something Uro had told him before. White Lotus was the first player to have a servant. I should probably give her something that would benefit her servant. Yuan immediately began looking for a store that would have such gifts. However, it was quite late at night, so most of the stores were closed. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Then he recalled something else. Feng, do you happen to have more spirit fruits on you? Yuan asked her. Spirit fruits? No, I gave what I had left to you when we first met, she said. If you don't mind me asking, why do you need spirit fruits? I am meeting someone later and I want to give her a gift. She's probably a beast tamer, so I want to give her something related to that, Yuan explained. I see. Do you know what kind of magical beast she's tamed? No, I don't. Feng Yuxiang pondered for a moment before speaking again. I have a suggestion, young master. Since you don't know what kind of magical beast she's tamed, you can just give her something that will benefit most magical beasts. I have something called Silver Spirit Grass. Not only is it the favorite food for many magical beasts, it can even boost their cultivation growth rate by 50% until they reach Spirit Master. That sounds perfect. How much do they usually cost? I'll pay you for some. Yuan said. It's alright, young master. It doesn't cost too much, so you can just have them for free. Yuan raised an eyebrow and asked her, are you saying that because it's really that cheap, or are you saying that because it's too expensive for me? Knowing you, I doubt you would have anything cheap on you. Tell me the truth, Feng Feng. It cost 5 million spirit stones for a batch of silver spirit grass. 5,000,000. Yuan swallowed nervously. He rubbed his eyes for a moment before speaking. Don't worry, I can afford it after selling the Gu family's treasures. I will pay you back later. You really don't have to. No, I must. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel like a gift since I got it from someone else for free. If you insist, young master. Sometime later, Yuan made his way to the Wuxia pavilion even though there was still an hour left. It was an open area surrounded by an artificial pond. It was also a lively outdoor restaurant that had dancers in the middle and musicians on each side. Yuan swept the entire area with his divine sense until he noticed a beautiful white-haired young woman who was sitting by herself at a small round table, yet she was surrounded by young men that were trying to get her attention. Seeing this, Yuan shook his head inwardly and approached the table with the white-haired beauty. Chapter 905. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 53 seconds AM. Chapter 905. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 905. Meeting White Lotus. Hey pretty. Why are you sitting here by yourself? Why don't you come sit with us? It'll be our treat. Come sit with my friends, young fairy. We just got accepted into the 7 spirit academies, so we're celebrating. It's a crime for a beauty such as yourself to be alone. Come with me. I'll spend the whole night with you. The white-haired beauty sighed. I'm waiting for my friend, so you'll have to entertain yourselves without me. However, the young men did not leave and became even more motivated. Why must the men be even more annoying in this world? The white-haired beauty sighed inwardly. Excuse me, I'd like to get through. A calm voice suddenly resounded amongst the dozens of voices there. Huh? Who the hell are you? Can't you see that there's a line here? I know you're horny, but wait for your turn, buddy. It was at this moment a powerful pressure suddenly enveloped the place, startling everybody there. Although the pressure was only directly at certain people there and lasted only a second, it was strong enough to completely silence the entire place. The white-haired beauty then watched as the people around her moved to the side with terrified expressions on their faces, creating a path for someone. Hello, you must be White Lotus. Yuan greeted the white-haired beauty when he approached the table. White Lotus looked at Yuan with her eyes slightly widened, and she subconsciously swallowed nervously. Are you player Yuan? She asked after a moment of silence. You can just call me Yuan. He nodded. Can I sit here? He then pointed at the chair on the opposite side of her. Please. Once he was seated, the people around them started to disappear, and the music resumed. However, the overall noise in that place remained quite low, almost as though the people there were afraid of disturbing someone. I hope you didn't wait too long for me, Yuan said to her. It's fine, I wasn't expecting for you to show up this early either, she said. And she continued, I was surprised when Chairman Li called me. I never expected to be contacted by the famous player Yuan, who has remained a mystery since the start of. A mystery, huh? I just never had a reason to speak with other players, I guess. Yuan said. Nevertheless, I'm glad that you'd reached out to me. I have always wanted to meet you. White Lotus said with a slight smile on her face. You wanted to meet me? What? Yuan raised an eyebrow. I was very proud to become the first player to have a servant, yet you'd made my achievement completely obsolete with your divine grade servant. Do you have any idea how that made me feel? I have never felt so humiliated before. Sorry, that wasn't my intention. I know, and I am not blaming you. White Lotus shook her head. Anyways, why did you want to speak with me? Yuan raised his eyebrows in a puzzled manner. Chairman Li didn't tell you? He asked. It's not that he didn't tell me. I just figured that it would be better if I heard it directly from you rather than through another person. That would be more sincere after all. I see. Then before I tell you, allow me to give you this. Yuan retrieved the silver spirit grass and placed it on the table. White Lotus looked at the bundle of grass with a confused face. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Why is he giving me grass? She wondered to herself. Since you're the first player to have acquired a servant, I figured this would be a perfect gift for you. It's called silver spirit grass. If you feed it to your servant, it will boost their cultivation speed by 50% until they reach the strength of a spirit master. What? White Lotus exclaimed in a shocked voice. I know it's not much since I didn't have enough time to prepare. I cannot accept such a gift. It's too valuable. White Lotus suddenly interrupted. And she continued in a nervous voice, I saw a treasure with similar effects before, but it was only at 10%, and it was already worth 1,000,000 spirit stones. I cannot imagine how much this treasure with 50% effect is worth. Don't worry about it. If you don't use it, I will have to give it to someone else since I have no use for it. White Lotus stared at the silver spirit grass with a pondering face. However, before she could even come to a conclusion, a shadowy figure suddenly shot out from her body and started gnawing on the silver spirit grass. Exuhe, stop. White Lotus shouted in a panicked voice when she realized that it was her servant that was eating the priceless silver spirit grass. But alas, the silver spirit grass disappeared almost immediately. And no way. White Lotus could feel all of her strength leave her body as she watched millions of spirit stones disappear into her servant's stomach. A cat with 2 tails? So this is your servant, huh? Yuan stared at the cat with interest. I am so sorry. White Lotus suddenly stood up and apologized with her head lowered. Meow, the 2-tailed black cat, looked at Yuan with a thankful gaze. I will accept your apology if you listen to my request. Yuan smiled. Anything. White Lotus quickly said. You see, my little sister, Yuro, is actually a member of your faction. It is going to be her birthday soon, and I'd like to surprise her with a visit. However, I heard that your faction doesn't allow men to enter, so I wanted to see if I could work something out with you, the leader of the faction. White Lotus stared at him with a dumbfounded face. This is the reason he wanted to contact me? She cried inwardly. Wait, did you just say Yuro? You're her brother? She asked him after a moment of silence. Yes, I am. Do you know her? White Lotus nodded in a dazed manner. Chapter 906. Published at 7th of May 2022, 5:25 and 53 seconds AM. Chapter 906. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 906. Meeting White Lotus 2. Yuro is one of the most talented new recruits we had recently, so it's hard to miss her. But to think that she was the little sister of Yuan, I am truly speechless. White Lotus said. How is she doing in the faction? It's been a while since I spoke with her. Although she's called multiple times, I am always busy, and when I try calling her back, she's busy with practice, so I haven't been able to speak with her recently, not to mention the difference in time zone. Yuan sighed. Yuro is very diligent in her training. She's always the first one there and the last to leave. Because of her commitment, she's earned all of the instructors' respects. For her to have such discipline, she must have wonderful parents. When their parents were mentioned, Yuan's expression suddenly turned cold, and killing intent began leaking from him. White Lotus was quite startled by such a drastic change in atmosphere, and she began worrying that she might have said something she shouldn't have. Excuse me. Yuan noticed the scared look on White Lotus' face and quickly controlled his emotions. I'm sorry if No, it wasn't your fault. I just remembered some unpleasant memories, that's all. And he continued, anyways, I know that I am asking a lot from you, but if you cannot let me meet with Yuro at your place, can you help me meet up with Yuro somewhere outside? I want it to remain as a surprise, so if you could, don't let her know that she's going to meet me. White Lotus pondered Yuan's request as she looked at Su-hei, who was still sitting on the table and licking its lips. Alright, I will make it an exception and allow you to enter our land to celebrate Yuro's birthday. Really? Thank you. Yuan immediately smiled. This is the least I can do for you. Just let me know when you plan on stopping by. White Lotus smiled back. Great. Yuan proceeded to tell her the date of Yuro's birthday. Sometime later he asked her, since we're already here, why don't we eat something? It'll be my treat. Sure. White Lotus nodded. Once a waiter approached their table, they began ordering their food. Due to their table's small size, Yuan decided to order a simple dish and some tea. While they waited for their food, Yuan asked, I have been wondering about how other players enjoy their time in. Can you tell me some of your experiences in this world? In return, I will tell you some of mine. Sure. White Lotus accepted without hesitation. After all, any information about Yuan's experience was incredibly valuable and highly sought after by the entire world. And for the next 20 minutes, White Lotus recalled some of her adventures with Yuan. Although they were not as grand and as exciting as Yuan's adventures, it was still interesting in its own way. Once the food was ready, they took a break from talking to eat and enjoy the music. Afterward, Yuan shared some of his earlier experiences with White Lotus. He spoke about how he'd fought a horde of monsters to protect Pang City. He spoke of his experience at the Dragon Essence Temple and how he participated in a zither competition with a fellow disciple. He spoke of the mystic realm. He spoke about powerful entities known as demons, and how he'd visited a world of dragons that looked like humans. White Lotus was absolutely captivated by his wondrous experience, so much so that she'd completely lost track of time. In fact, she had a thrilled expression on her face the entire time, but she was too absorbed to be aware of her own expression. White Lotus wanted Yuan to continue his story forever, but the Wuxia Pavilion had a closing time, and it was reached before either of them were aware. Excuse me, esteemed guests. Wuxia Pavilion will be closing soon. However, if you wish to stay here and continue chatting, you are free to do so. The manager of the place approached them in a timid manner, as he was afraid to anger them by disturbing their peaceful atmosphere. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. It's already closing time? I'm sorry, Yuan. I didn't intend on taking up so much of your time. White Lotus said to him. It was enjoyable, so I don't mind. Yuan smiled. White Lotus nodded and said, let's continue this conversation another time. Here is my phone number. If you need anything, don't hesitate to call. She retrieved a piece of paper and started writing on it. Thank you. Yuan accepted the paper and memorized the number with a single glance. I know you're coming for Euro, but I look forward to your visit as well. Good night. White Lotus said to him before logging off. Yuan logged off shortly after. After logging off, White Lotus removed the helmet and proceeded to stare at her ceiling with a dazed look on her face. Yuan, what an intriguing person. He's nothing like the rumors. A gentle smile appeared on her face. Then she realized something. I completely forgot. I wanted to ask him about his servants. What a blunder. She face-bombed herself upon realizing this. I wanted to see what a divine grade and ancient grade servant looked like too. Damn it. Sometime later, once she calmed down, White Lotus got off the bed and walked to her computer. After logging into the computer, she opened up a private chat room and typed into the chat box. White Lotus, I just met with player Yuan in Cultivation Online. We chatted about our experience with the game over some food and tea. He's truly a unique person with many stories to tell. Within seconds of White Lotus' comment, dozens of people started typing in the chat. Blue Monster, no way. Really? Where did you meet him? Green Hat, tell us what happened. Fiery Queen, how did you contact him? I also want to speak with him. However, White Lotus didn't respond to any of them. After reading some of the responses, she closed the chat room and walked away from her computer with a smug smile on her face. Chapter 907. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 53 seconds AM. Chapter 907. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 907. Teasing the legacy families. After White Lotus teased everyone in the chat room with the information that she'd met with player Yuan, hundreds of people began trying to reach out to White Lotus. They tried messaging her through emails, through the chat room and even through her phone. When none of that worked, they started calling her and those around her. Miss Bai. They're calling us non-stop. Why don't you just respond to them? Her manager pleaded with her, as her phone has been blowing up non-stop for the past hour. Just turn off your phone like I did. White Lotus smiled. And then it will only be a matter of time before they start showing up at our doorstep. In fact, I am willing to bet that some of them are already on their way here. Her manager sighed. Let them come. They're always talking about player Yuan, so I am teasing them for a bit. You're so evil, Miss Bai. It'll only be for a bit. White Lotus shrugged. The following day, as expected, a crowd of people showed up in front of the Eternal Lotus's headquarters. Of course, they were all females. And because they were all from legacy families, the Eternal Lotuses couldn't just send them away. Miss Bai, here are the families that are currently outside. Her manager handed her a list of names. Oh, Fiery Queen is also here? White Lotus noticed her name at glance. Yes, and she said that she won't leave until you meet with her. The manager sighed. White Lotus smiled and said, bring her inside. Tell the others that I am only going to be speaking with Fiery Queen and nobody else. Right away. Sometime later, a beautiful young woman with long wavy crimson hair appeared before White Lotus in her room. White Lotus, how dare you leave us hanging after dropping that bomb in the chat room yesterday? Do you have any idea how much ruckus your comment had caused? Fiery Queen began lecturing White Lotus the moment she entered the room. Ruckus? It was just a casual comment. Why would there be a ruckus? White Lotus acted ignorant. Why, you met with player Yuan, right? The mysterious player that shook the entire world with his impossible achievements. Everybody and their mother has been trying to contact him, but to no avail. Even a teaspoon of information on him is worth a fortune. You must tell me about your meeting with him. Why should I tell you, or anybody for that matter? It was a private conversation between the two of us. There's no need for the whole world to know about it. White Lotus shook her head. Bullshit. Then why did you mention it in the group chat? You could have kept the meeting to yourself. I just wanted to see your reactions, that's all. Fiery Queen was speechless. You're a really horrible person, you know that, right? White Lotus chuckled. Is that so? I was going to give you a chance to meet him, but since I am a horrible person. Wait. I was joking. You're not a horrible person. Please, I want to meet him too. Fiery Queen began panicking. White Lotus then said, if you're thinking about recruiting him, I suggest you give up on that idea. What? Did you already recruit him or something? Fiery Queen frowned. No, I didn't even try to recruit him. Why not? You wouldn't understand it until you meet him. That man. He's untamable. White Lotus sighed. You won't know until you try. Fiery Queen said. Try. White Lotus scoffed and she continued, when I first met him, I was barely able to keep my composure. I felt like a prey before its predator. It was a truly humbling experience. Even though he was very polite and humble, he has this overwhelming presence that cannot be masked. So you're saying that he's a dangerous individual? Fiery Queen raised her eyebrows. Yes and no. He seems like a genuinely good person and someone easy to befriend, but if you offend him, he'll become your worst nightmare. He's that sort of individual. White Lotus said, recalling her experience with Yuan. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Unfortunately, even if I trust you, this is not something we can decide on. It'll be our families that will make the final decision. Speaking of our families, has your family contacted you yet? Fiery Queen asked her. No, they haven't. Well, color me surprised. But it'll only be a matter of time. White Lotus said. What will you do if they want you to recruit him? Fiery Queen asked. Then I'll recruit him. She calmly said. Fiery Queen frowned and said, even after everything you just said? You're such a hypocrite. He's going to refuse anyways. The most important thing is the way we approach him and that we don't push our luck. You knew this was going to happen before you even made that comment in the group chat yesterday. What? Who knows? White Lotus shrugged. White Lotus suddenly noticed her private cell phone ringing. Speaking of the devil. Looks like my family has finally decided to contact me, she said with a smile. If you don't mind, White Lotus looked at Fiery Queen. We're not done yet. I will be waiting outside. Fiery Queen said before going outside. White Lotus answered the phone and began speaking with her parents. Yes, it's true. No, not yet. I didn't want to rush things. Don't worry, I will have another chance to meet him soon. Yes, I know. I will do my best to recruit him. Sorry, but I promised him that I wouldn't reveal any information about our meeting yesterday. Even if it's my own family, there is a chance that it could be leaked outside. Unless you want to risk offending him and lose our chance to recruit him. I understand. Goodbye. White Lotus hung up many minutes later and sighed in relief. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Yuan logged into Cultivation Online and met up with those that will be ascending the stairway to heaven with him. Chapter 908. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 908. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 908. Confronting the Gu family, are you guys ready? Yuan asked Meishio and the others after returning to the starting city. I'm ready. Chu Liuxiang nodded. Same. Meishio said. Li Jinsi silently nodded. Great. Now then, which way is the stairway to heaven? Yuan asked his companions. Xiao Hua appeared the next moment and pointed in a certain direction. Since I don't want to take up too much of your time, let's fly there. Yuan said afterward. Fly. Li Jinsi raised her eyebrows. Yuan then used Qi manifestation to wrap his spiritual energy around them before lifting them into the air. Although Meishio and Chu Liuxiang were used to the feeling of flight, this was Li Jinsi's first time flying in such a manner. Brother Yuan, do you need help? Xiao Hua asked him. It's fine. I have plenty of spiritual energy, he said. Thus, they began flying towards the stairway to heaven, unaware of the army waiting for them. Meanwhile, somewhere near the stairway to heaven. Patriarch Gu, there is still no sign of this Yuan. Do you think the information provided to us could be fake? It's already been a week since we've started camping out here. An elder of the Gu family said. No, that's not possible. The person who provided me this information is a reputable source. He wouldn't lie to me. Patriarch Gu said. And he continued, we'll wait here for a whole month if we have to. Stay vigilant. You never know when he'll show up. Yes. Meanwhile, inside the House of Riches, Gu Xiaolan was lying on the couch staring at the spirit jade Feng Yuxiang gave to her when someone knocked on her door. What is it? Gu Xiaolan stored the spirit jade away and turned to look at the door. Manager, have you heard? Patriarch Gu left the Gu family with over 1,000 experts and stationed themselves around the stairway to heaven. What? When did this happen? Gu Xiaolan frowned. About a week ago. Do you know why? No, I don't. After pondering for a moment, two figures suddenly appeared inside her head. Oh no. Don't tell me it's because of them. Gu Xiaolan immediately sat up on the bed and retrieved a communication jade slip. Damn it. He's not picking up. What's that idiot doing? Gu Xiaolan rushed outside and said, I will be away for a bit. After leaving the House of Riches, Gu Xiaolan began flying towards the direction of the stairway to heaven. I really hope I won't be too late to stop their foolishness. She prayed as she flew. Why are there so many people here? Yuan wondered out loud as they approached the stairway to heaven and noticed the people at the bottom. Halt! A loud voice suddenly resounded, and a figure with the strength of a spirit grandmaster approached them a moment later. State your name. The spirit grandmaster demanded. Huh? Why do I have to give you my name? Yuan raised an eyebrow. Insolence. You're standing before the Gu family, one of 7 legacy families. I will not repeat myself. Identify yourselves. The spirit grandmaster repeated. Gu family, huh? Why are they out here? Are they waiting for us? For me? Yuan wondered inwardly. My name is Tian Qinyu. Yuan calmly responded. He turned to look at the others and nodded his head. Chu Liuxiang. Mei Xiu. Li Jinxi. Xiao Hua. The ladies all introduced themselves. The spirit grandmaster looked at the list in his hand. When he couldn't see any of their names on it, he nodded and said, You may pass. Thank you. Yuan didn't say anything else and began flying away. However, he suddenly turned around and extended his hand, catching a sword that had been flying at him. Yuan glanced at the sword in his grasp before looking at the spirit grandmaster. What's the meaning of this? He asked. Do you really take me for a fool, Yuan? The spirit grandmaster sneered. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. How dare you attack Brother Yuan's back? Xiaohua's eyes flickered with killing intent. Wait, Xiaohua. Yuan beckoned her to stop. How did you know? He then asked the spirit grandmaster. The spirit grandmaster then retrieved a jade slip and activated it, which immediately projected Yuan's face. That looks like the disciple examination. Someone had captured my appearance through the broadcast, huh? Yuan quickly realized how the spirit grandmaster knew his true identity. The spirit grandmaster then retrieved a talisman and activated it. The talisman suddenly exploded with light, just like a firework. When the rest of the Gu family noticed the firework, they immediately started approaching their location, and within moments hundreds of experts surrounded Yuan and his group. I was worried that you wouldn't come, bandit who dared to rob my Gu family. Patriarch Gu showed up shortly afterward. Yuan, what's going on here? Li Jinxi asked him. Don't worry, I will handle it. Feng Xiaohua Yingying, I will leave them in your hands. Feng Yuxiang and Lan Yingying appeared the next moment and formed a triangle around Meishio and the others with Xiaohua. Where the hell did they come from? Wow, I have never seen so many jade beauties in one place before. The Gu family was shocked by Feng Yuxiang and Lan Yingying's sudden appearance. You called a whole army just to punish me? I'm flattered. Yuan said to Patriarch Gu. I admire your ability to stay calm in such a situation, so I am going to give you a way out. Hand over the treasures that you had stolen from my family and I will let you leave with your life. However, you will no longer be a cultivator. Yuan glanced at Meishio and the others. Although Tian Qinyu has killed other cultivators before, they were all demon worshippers that have colluded with demons, so it doesn't make it any easier for Yuan to kill these people even with Tian Qinyu's memories and experience. Furthermore, he didn't want Meishio and the others to see him slaughtering other people. I don't know what you're talking about. I never stole anything from your family. What had happened was, I don't care about your side of the story. You have something that belongs to my family and that's all that matters. Patriarch Gu interrupted. If you insist on opposing my Gu family, then you leave me no other choice. Since you stole something from me, it is only fair that I take something from you. Patriarch Gu pointed at the ladies behind him and spoke in a cold voice. After I kill you, I will take back my treasures along with your women and make them my Gu family's slaves for the rest of their lives, and everyone here will have a chance to enjoy them. When Patriarch Gu's people heard his words, they immediately began shouting in excitement. Is that so? Yuan lowered his head and muttered in a low voice. A cold voice suddenly resounded in his head the next moment. Regardless if they are immortal or God, slaughter all that obstruct your path. Let your bloodlust consume the heavens and all those within it. Kill these ants that dares to covet your women. Let them know true fear. When Yuan heard the evil god's voice, his eyes suddenly turned blood red, and his body began oozing with killing intent so intense that it was possible to see with one's bare eyes. Why, young master? Feng Yuxiang swallowed nervously when she noticed red mist filled with killing intent being discharged from Yuan's body, resembling the miasma at the Demon's Valley, and it gave her a sensation of dread and despair that not even demons could achieve. Brother Yuan. Xiao Hua's body trembled in fear when she sensed Yuan's killing intent. This is the second time that she's seen him in such a state. The first time she saw it she was reminded of her father, and it was even more so this time, almost as though her father was standing in Yuan's place right now. Watch out. There's something off about him. Patriarch Gu immediately warned the others, and this was before Yuan's killing intent reached him. Once he felt Yuan's killing intent, it made his blood turn cold, and it felt like his body had turned into an ice statue. When the others with a lower cultivation sensed Yuan's killing intent, they started screaming with madness, almost as though they'd lost their mind or they were actively being tortured. The entire area quickly became filled with shrieks and people screaming, almost as though they'd suddenly entered the deepest parts of hell. Chapter 909. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 909. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 909. Evil God's Killing Intent. Aya. Somebody, kill me. In this pain. Help me, mommy. Hundreds of cultivators screamed like their lives depended on it, almost as though they were being tortured. It didn't matter if they were spirit grandmasters or stone-cold killers, none of them were spared. The only ones that could barely maintain their sanity were those at Spirit Lord and above. What is going on? Li Jinsi looked at the chaos around them with a terrified face. Have they gone mad? Did Yuan do this to them? Chu Liuxiang swallowed nervously. Of course, the only ones that weren't affected by the evil god's killing intent were Meishio and the others. This killing intent reminds me of our training at the Qi family but countless times stronger, Meishio mumbled in a dazed voice as she stared at Yuan's figure from behind. What happened to you, Yuan? Meishio sighed inwardly, feeling worried about Yuan's condition. Eventually, the red mist released by Yuan covered a distance of 10 miles, and all greenery within his miasma would die, turning the scenery into that of something similar to an apocalypse. The magical beasts and animals all ran for their lives, and those that weren't fast enough to escape the miasma would fall unconscious with their longevity slowly being consumed by their intense fear. The cultivators with the Gu family eventually started harming themselves and those around them. They scratched their faces until it was covered in blood. Some of them even dug out their own eyeballs. The scene was becoming more and more gruesome with every passing second. After snapping out of her daze, Feng Yuxiang created a wall of flame around Meishio and the others so they wouldn't be able to see the scene any longer. Patriarch Gu also snapped out of his daze and shouted, "Everyone! Stop him! We cannot allow this to go on any further." All of the spirit lords that were still sane immediately began throwing everything they had at Yuan. Although they were all scared to death and wanted to turn around and run, nobody there dared to turn their backs to Yuan. "Disappear from my sight," Yuan muttered in a cold voice when he noticed their movements. There were a total of 13 spirit lords in the Gu family, so Yuan created 12 clones of the Starry Abyss and attacked them with Flying Dagger. Despite their small size, the Starry Abyss pierced through the air with tremendous force that could easily crush even a peak spirit lord. Like 13 shooting stars, the Starry Abyss soared through the sky until they reached their targets. Ah! More screams resounded as 10 out of 13 spirit lords perished from Yuan's mortal rank technique. As for the remaining 3 spirit lords, they were barely able to escape with their lives, but none of them managed to escape unharmed, and 2 of them were even crippled in the process. Impossible. How can a single person possess such power? He's only a spirit lord too. Patriarch Gu exclaimed. It's over. I have offended a monster that we couldn't afford to offend. And for what? For those idiots in the lower heaven? Patriarch Gu lost all desire to retaliate and just hovered in the air with a blank look on his face. He'd completely given up. Young master, please have mercy. A voice suddenly resounded. Patriarch Gu subconsciously turned to the sound. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Gu Xiaolan? What are you doing here? He asked her. However, Gu Xiaolan ignored Patriarch Gu and flew past him until she was in front of Yuan. She immediately kowtowed in the air and begged, Please, have mercy. This is all caused by a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, you say? Yuan narrowed his eyes at her. Yes. Our Gu family is at fault here. We will bear all responsibility for what happened here today, she said. Yuan suddenly felt someone tugging his clothes from behind. He turned around to see Xiaohua. She had her head lowered, almost as though she was too afraid to look at him, and her petite body was shivering uncontrollably. Be brother Yuan. Xiaohua is afraid, she mumbled in a low voice. Yuan's eyes widened, and he immediately stopped releasing the evil god's killing intent. However, the red miasma continued to linger for a while before slowly disappearing. He placed his hand on her head and sighed, I'm sorry, Xiaohua. I lost control of my emotions just now and scared you. Xiaohua lifted her head to see a gentle smile on his face. She wiped the tears around her eyes and smiled, It's okay. Yuan nodded, and he proceeded to look at the chaos he's caused with his killing intent alone. Even though the miasma was quickly clearing, the cultivators from the Gu family weren't calming down, and they continued to harm each other. Yuan turned to look at Gu Xiaolan and Patriarch Gu. Their faces were pale white, and Patriarch Gu looked especially bad, almost as though he'd painted his face with white paint. I won't apologize for what happened here today. If you'd given me a chance to explain myself without threatening harm to my friends, things wouldn't have gotten this bad. I deeply apologize for my behavior and rashness. Please spare my Gu family. I was the one who spoke about harming your friends. Take my life and spare the others. Yuan narrowed his eyes at Patriarch Gu and silently pondered. Just like the Gu family from the lower heavens, I will give you a chance. Because of your Gu family, my friends have suffered greatly today and Xiaohua even shed tears. I demand compensation. Leave behind all of your treasures and scram. If you walk from this place with even a single treasure on your body, I will finish what I started. Thank you for your mercy. Patriarch Gu wasted no time taking out all of his spatial rings and storage pouches before handing them to Yuan. You don't need to give me anything, Yuan said to Gu Xiaolan, who was also taking out her treasures. Thank you. Gu Xiaolan bowed to him. Chapter 9-10. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 9-10. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 9-10. Sect Master of the Universal Music Academy. After accepting Patriarch Gu's treasures, Yuan took a peek into one of them randomly, and to his surprise, the treasures in this specific spatial ring were all protected by the Gu family's destiny seal. The last Gu family only placed destiny seals on their most valuable treasures. Does this mean that Patriarch Gu also carries around his family's heritage? What luck! Yuan laughed inwardly after realizing this fact. Indeed, just like the Patriarch Gu of the lower heavens, the Patriarch Gu of this world also carries around his family's more valuable treasures, as he believed that it would be safer on him. After all, who would be dumb and bold enough to rob the patriarch of one of 7 legacy families? Not even a madman would dare do something this bold. After putting away the treasures he just acquired from Patriarch Gu, Yuan spoke in a calm voice, I have one more thing for you before I leave. How did you find out that I would be heading to the stairway to heaven? Who told you? The sect master of the Universal Music Academy, Sun Hao. He was the one who gave me the information. I figured it would be him. Yuan shook his head and sighed. He then narrowed his eyes at Patriarch Gu. I was planning on crippling your cultivation base, but since I'd already killed so many experts in your Gu family, I will spare you from this fate. Thank you for your mercy. Patriarch Gu lowered his head. Although he was unaware, Patriarch Gu's cultivation had already suffered irreparable damage because of the intense fear and stress that he'd just experienced. It may take a few days, maybe even a few months, but his cultivation will eventually collapse on itself. Sometime later, Feng Yuxiang removed the fire wall around Meishio and the others. Let's go, Yuan said to them, and they continued their journey to the stairway to heaven. The ladies had countless questions for Yuan, but none of them had the courage to ask him, and they preferred to wait until Yuan decided to tell them, so they all remained silent for the rest of their journey. Young master's killing intent just now. It's not something that can be achieved even if he killed people every day from the day he was born. It requires hundreds if not thousands of years to cultivate, not to mention the amount of people he needed to kill to acquire such killing intent. What do you think, Xiaohua? Do you have any idea about it? You've been with him the longest, right? Feng Yuxiang tried to speak with Xiaohua and Lan Yingying through spiritual sense, but Xiaohua was not in the mood to chit-chat. I don't know. Stop bothering Xiaohua, Phoenix. Feng Yuxiang shook her head with a bittersweet smile. Do you think it has something to do with his past lives? I have been wondering about this for a while, but when Yuan mentioned his past lives' memories, it sounded like he was talking about memories of more than just one person. Lan Yingying speculated. You think the young master has more than just the divine paragon's memories? Is that even possible? Having memories of two lives. That's ridiculously heaven-defying if it's real, Feng Yuxiang said. Well, this Yuan that we're talking about, Lan Yingying said. You're right. The young master is always like this. Feng Yuxiang sighed inwardly. Sometime later, they arrived at the stairway to heaven. You guys can log off first. I'll climb the stairway to heaven when I return from Yu Ro's birthday surprise, Yuan said after putting them down. What about you? What are you going to do now? Chu Liuxiang asked him. Yuan smiled and said, I have some unfinished business that needs to be taken care of. They had a feeling that Yuan was going to do something dangerous and crazy. Yuan, stay safe, okay? Meishio said to him after a moment of silence. Of course. Yuan nodded. I'll be done before dinner. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. After Meishio, Chu Liuxiang, and Li Jinxi logged off the game, Yuan lifted his head and stared at the blue sky in a dazed manner. I warned them that if they tried to hurt my friends again that I'd return and claim their lives. Sect Master Sun, do you really think I am a pushover? I have given you enough chances now. If I don't kill you now, who knows what you'll do once you find out about Wang Ming and the others. Feng Feng, do you know the location of the Universal Music Academy? That way. She immediately pointed west. Let's go. 4 hours later, Yuan arrived at the Universal Music Academy. Sun Hao. Again and again you've pushed my limit. Do you really think that I won't kill you because of your status? Get out here and accept your punishment. Yuan's voice echoed throughout the Universal Music Academy. A few moments later, hundreds of figures could be seen flying towards him, but Sun Hao was nowhere to be seen. Who the hell are you? How dare you speak of the sect master's name in such a disrespectful tone? You're courting death. Do you even realize where you are, brat? The disciples of the Universal Music Academy cursed at him. Eventually, someone there recognized Yuan's face and shouted, Wait. That's the bastard that severed one of the sect master's arms. What? Shit. It's really him. Ah. What an idiot to come to our sect. I have been dreaming of avenging the sect master. To think I'd get the chance so soon. Today is really my lucky day. Everyone. We're going to offer this bastard's head to the sect master when he returns. Yeah. Kill this bastard. These disciples were all between Spirit Grandmaster and Spirit Lord, and they all started taking out their instruments. Yuan rubbed his eyes and sighed, what a pain in the ass. He came here with the intention to take only one life, their sect master's life, but at this rate, he'll have to kill hundreds of people before he could even reach Sun Hao. Chapter 911. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 911. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 911. Confronting the sect masters again. The disciples of the Universal Music Academy quickly surrounded Yuan after realizing his true identity. Yuan sighed out loud, I have already seen enough blood today, so I would prefer it if we can settle this peacefully. I'm only here for your sect master. Tell me where he is and I will leave you all alone. However, the disciples merely laughed at him. Yuan sighed again. I guess we'll have to do this the hard way. He lifted his hand until it was around his neck before he slowly pressed his palm towards the ground. An unfathomable pressure suddenly enveloped the area, causing all of the disciples there to fall from the sky and slamming into the ground. Heavenly domain. The disciples tried to get up afterward, but it felt like there was a real mountain on their back, forcing them to continue kissing the ground with their faces. This is your last chance to tell me where your sect master is. If I do not have an answer within the next 3 seconds, I will kill everyone here by turning your bodies into meat paste. The disciples' faces immediately paled after hearing Yuan's words, and they did not doubt his words for a moment. 1. The sect master is currently at the Spirit Healing Academy. More than one person there answered a second into Yuan's threat. Spirit Healing Academy? What's he doing there? He's trying to heal his severed arm. The other sect masters are also there for some sort of meeting. That's all I know. I see. Thank you for your cooperation. Yuan released the disciples from the heavenly domain and disappeared from their sight before they could even get back to their feet. Spirit Healing Academy. That's where Wang Xiuying is currently studying medicine. Let's give her a visit after I deal with Sun Hao. Yuan thought to himself as she sped towards the Spirit Healing Academy. Meanwhile, at the Spirit Healing Academy, all 7 sect masters of the 7 spirit academies gathered in a meeting room. I can't believe it. You'd actually managed to reattach Sect Master Sun's severed arm, Sect Master Xiahou. Sect Master Li spoke in an admiring voice. Sect Master Xiahou shook her head and said, I was only able to do it because his arm was cleanly severed, and I was able to treat it just in time. If we'd waited even a few more hours, it would have been impossible to reattach it. With that being said, it will take many years of therapy before Sect Master Sun can use that arm properly. Even so, I am really thankful for your efforts, Sect Master Xiahou. I'll definitely repay this debt in the future. Sun Hao said to her with a wide smile on his face. Anyways, let's get on with today's topic. Sect Master Li said. And he continued, as you all have probably heard by now, the Gu family have assembled over 1,000 cultivators and stationed themselves around the stairway to heaven. I have already asked them for their reason for such actions. They told me that they were trying to capture a bandit who stole from their family without giving me any more information. What do you guys think? Who would believe such bullshit? Nobody assembles 1,000 experts for a mere bandit, much less the Gu family, one of 7 legacy families. Bianju sneered. I don't believe it either. The others expressed the same sentiment. Sun Hao, however, remained silent about the issue. But if he's not there for a bandit, who, or what is he there for? Do you think the Gu family could have found a treasure? They would have done something less conspicuous if they were going after a treasure. The sect masters would spend many minutes discussing the issue. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Because they were dealing with one of the 7 legacy families, they had to be careful. What do you think, Sect Master Sun? You have been awfully quiet this entire time, which isn't common. If you know anything about the situation. I'm not saying anything because I don't know anything. Sun Hao shook his head and he continued, furthermore, whatever the legacy families are doing is none of our business. That's not true. Although the 7 legacy families may have more authority and status than us in general, we cannot just sit still while they could be preparing for war. Sect Master Xiahou said. War? Who would dare go to war with the Gu family? Some idiot had probably offended them to the extent where they must use such force. The 1,000 experts they had assembled are most likely just for show. Sun Hao snorted. Sect Master Li narrowed his eyes at Sun Hao. He could tell that something was off about Sun Hao, but he couldn't pinpoint that something. Suddenly, all of the sect masters there turned to look at the window. What's this overwhelming presence that's approaching our direction? Sect Master Xiahou exclaimed. Stay alert and prepare for battle, everyone. Sect Master Li shouted. A few seconds later they could see a figure flying towards them. Huh. Wait a second. That's... Bianju's eyes widened with surprise when he could finally see the face of this individual. What's that bastard doing here? Sun Hao exclaimed in a shocked voice. Why is he here? What happened to the Gu family? He should have encountered them by now. He cried inwardly. Yuan entered the meeting room a few moments later through one of the open windows. What do you want? I thought our business had already ended. Sect Master Li asked with a profound frown on his face. Yes, that was the case. However, one of you decided to push their luck and broke our agreement. Yuan said in a cold voice. I warned you. If any of you tries to harm me or my friends again, I would return and claim your lives. What? Are you claiming that we tried to hurt your friends after what happened? That's outrageous. Sect Master Li exclaimed. That's right. Where is your proof? Sun Hao shouted. Yuan narrowed his eyes at Sun Hao, who immediately swallowed nervously. Does he know that I had sold him to the Gu family? No, that's impossible. Patriarch Gu wouldn't sell me out like that. Not to this bastard. He cried inwardly. Chapter 9:12. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 9:12. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 9:12. Sect Master Sun, how dare you barge in here and accuse us of such bullshit without any proof? Do you really think you're unstoppable? Sun Hao pointed his finger at Yuan and shouted so loud that his saliva sprayed. Yuan casually dodged the saliva and said, "Proof, huh? That might be a bit difficult." "See? I knew it. This guy is just messing with us," Sun Hao exclaimed. Sect Master Li then said, "The 7 of us haven't even gone anywhere near you or your friends, so where did you get the idea that we tried to harm them? I admire your strength, but you've gone too far. Unless you have proof, nobody here will believe you." Bianju sighed. Yuan smiled and said, "I never said I don't have proof. I just said that it would be a bit difficult." "What? You have proof?" They looked at him with wide eyes. "Of course. Do you know of the Gu family?" Yuan then asked, "What does the Gu family have to do with this?" Sun Hao immediately said, "They're one of 7 legacy families. They're not even related to us." Sect Master Li said, "You see, the Gu family in the lower heavens had tried to harm my friends, so I taught them a little lesson. They didn't like that, so they asked for the Gu family in this world to avenge them." "What? Don't tell me that you're the reason the Gu family dispatched over 1,000 experts." Sect Master Xiaohou mumbled out loud. "Yes, and they had set a perimeter around the stairway to heaven with the intention to ambush me. However, I have never told the Gu family about going to the stairway to heaven, so how did they know that I was going to be there? What a coincidence that I told you guys about my plans to challenge the stairway to heaven and the Gu family found out about it shortly afterward, don't you all agree? Is that your so-called proof? That's just pure speculation." Sun Hao shouted. "Sect Master Sun is right. That is not concrete proof. What if they'd found out about it from another source?" Bianju said. "That's not possible." Yuan shook his head. "And why do you say that?" Sect Master Li asked. "Because Patriarch Gu personally told me about the culprit," Yuan said with a cold smile on his face as he narrowed his gaze on Sun Hao. Seeing Yuan's cold gaze, Sun Hao immediately began sweating profusely. "Impossible. There's no way that Patriarch Gu would sell me out. He's bluffing." He cried inwardly. "And who's the culprit?" Sect Master Li asked. "The one who's been the loudest since my arrival," Yuan replied. Everybody there turned to look at Sun Hao, who was soaked in cold sweat as of this moment. "Sect Master Sun, please tell me that you didn't," Sect Master Xiaohou swallowed nervously. Out of everyone there, Sun Hao had the most hatred for Yuan, and the other sect masters were aware of this even though nobody told them. That's outrageous. This is a setup. Why would Patriarch Gu even tell you such information? That's suspicious no matter how you look at it. He had no choice. Yuan calmly responded. And he continued after releasing some killing intent. "After all, I killed 10 of his spirit lords and crippled his little army." "You what?" Everybody there took a step back after hearing Yuan's words. "Are you insane? You dare attack a legacy family?" Sun Hao was on the verge of pissing his pants after feeling Yuan's killing intent and hearing about what he did to the Gu family. "They were the ones who threatened to harm my friends first. Did you think I would let them do that just because they're one of 7 legacy families?" Yuan scoffed. "Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. And this is mostly your fault, Sun Hao. If you hadn't told the Gu family about my plans, they wouldn't know where to find me, and I would have left this world without ever meeting them. In other words, I wouldn't have needed to harm them." Sun Hao suddenly started laughing in a chilling manner. "You're doomed. You're fucking dead. No matter who's at fault here, it doesn't change the fact that you'd attacked the Gu family. Once the other legacy families hear of this, they will also hunt you down. Even if you kill me here today, you're still a dead man." I don't think that will happen. After all, the Gu family admitted that they were in the wrong and that they won't pursue the matter any further. Yuan said. What? Impossible. Sun Hao nearly choked after hearing such information. "It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. You'll be dead very soon anyway." Yuan retrieved the Empyrean Overlord the next second and pointed it at Sun Hao. Wait. Why don't we all calm down and talk about this?" Sect Master Li stepped forward and said in a nervous voice. Yuan narrowed his eyes at Sect Master Li. "Talk? We had our talk the last time. Do you really think I am a pushover? Sect Master Li sighed. Even if Sect Master Sun had given information to the Gu family, he didn't directly harm you or your friends. It was the Gu family that made such a decision. So he did nothing wrong even though he helped someone to harm me, huh? As if I die, you little bastard. In the middle of Yuan's sentence, Sun Hao suddenly retrieved a long black needle and plunged it at Yuan. You. The other sect masters were shocked and couldn't react in time. Ding. However, the needle suddenly stopped in front of Yuan's chest, and no matter how much force Sun Hao put into it, the needle wouldn't move forward. What's going on? This is a divine-grade treasure. Sun Hao was left confused by the result. Yuan looked at Sun Hao with an indifferent expression on his face and said, treasures below ancient grade won't penetrate my invisible dragon cloak's defenses, especially if it's a physical attack. Now die. Right as Yuan prepared to slice Sun Hao with his sword, a voice resounded in his head, allow me to get rid of this trash for you, young master. A small flame suddenly shot out of Yuan's body and attached itself onto Sun Hao's body before it quickly erupted into a massive fire, turning Sun Hao into a burnt corpse within seconds. Feng Feng? Why did you? Yuan looked at Sun Hao's burnt corpse with wide eyes. Chapter 9:13. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 9:13. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 9:13. Black anguish needle. Yuan stared at Sun Hao's burnt corpse with a look of disbelief and surprise. This is the first time one of his servants has killed a cultivator. Feng Feng, why did you kill him? Yuan asked her. Feng Yuxiang appeared before him with her head lowered. Young master, I apologize for acting on my own, but there isn't any need for you to dirty your hands with these lowlifes. If you wish to kill somebody, please allow me to do it for you. Furthermore, young master, you don't like killing other humans, right? Since I occupy the space in your heart, I know your emotions better than anyone here. Every time you kill someone, your heart clenches slightly. However, no matter my reasoning, I have acted without your approval. Please punish me as you see fit, young master. The sect masters in the room turned their focus from Sun Hao's corpse to Feng Yuxiang. Who is this beauty? Where did she come from? This pressure? She's a spirit king. And a high-level one as well. Did she just come out of his body? They all wondered. Yuan rubbed his temples and sighed after a moment of silence. Feng Feng, if I order you to kill someone, how is that any different from killing them myself? I am still the reason they died. And I won't punish you. I was going to kill him anyway. I just wanted to know your reason for killing him, that's all. Thank you, Feng Feng, for worrying about me. You're right. I don't like killing others, but there are times when you must act even if doing so will make you feel uncomfortable. If I don't do it, I won't be able to protect those valuable to me, people like you, Feng Feng. Also, if I had to choose between dirtying my precious friends in blood or my own hands, I will gladly choose the latter. Young master. Feng Yuxiang's face flushed with redness when she saw the gentle smile on Yuan's face. Yuan turned to look at Sect Master Li a moment later and spoke in a calm voice. Sun Hao just tried to harm me. You all saw that, right? They all nodded in silence. Then you should have no qualms about me killing him. Do you have anything else to say? Sect Master Li walked back to his chair and sat down in an exhausted manner. He took a deep breath and sighed. I'm sorry. I should have spoken to him right after that incident. None of this would have happened if I had spoken with him. Don't blame yourself. People like him won't change so quickly after a single conversation. Yuan shook his head. Why are you still here? You've already accomplished your goal, right? Just leave already. Bainju said to him. Actually, I still have some business here. Yuan said. What? What else do you want from us? Not from you. Yuan then turned to look at Sect Master Xiahou and said, You're the Sect Master of the Spirit Healing Academy, right? Why, yes, I am, she nodded nervously. Then do you know of a disciple by the name of Wang Xiuying? Wang Xiuying? She raised her eyebrows in a puzzled manner. Seeing her reaction, Yuan realized something. Oh right. She's known as Healer Wang in this world. Oh, I misspoke. Her name is Healer Wang. Yuan corrected himself. Healer Wang? Why are you looking for her? Sect Master Xiahou swallowed nervously. She's a friend of mine. Since I'm already in her sect, I might as well give her a visit. I also made a promise to see her again when I ascended to spirit heaven. You're her friend? Why am I not surprised? Sect Master Xiahou sighed. Of course he's friends with Healer Wang. It's like he has a connection with all top geniuses in this world. She sighed again inwardly. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Healer Wang is my disciple. I will show you to her residence. Follow me. She then turned to look at Sect Master Li and continued, I will be back soon. It's okay. I was going to stop the meeting even if you didn't say anything. I have to visit the Universal Music Academy now that their position of Sect Master is vacant. Let's continue the meeting another day. Sect Master Li sighed. Then I will wait for your contact. Bianju said. Meanwhile, Yuan went to pick up the black needle left behind by Sun Hao. I'll be taking this with me. I hope you don't mind. Yuan said to them. Do whatever you want. None of them wanted to offend him even for a divine grade treasure. Black anguish needle, grade, divine, quality, peak, physical strength required, 70,000, mental strength required, 150,000, description, a needle that contains the deadly poison black anguish, that will torture its victim with a slow and painful death, rotting them from inside out. What a nasty treasure. Yuan thought to himself after seeing its description. Sometime later, Yuan followed Sect Master Xiahou to another location in the sect. How's Healer Wang doing in the sect? Yuan asked her as they traveled. Don't worry, she's not being bullied by anyone if that's what you're wondering, she responded. Yuan chuckled. No, I just want to know her situation. The sect master glanced at him with a pondering face before speaking. Healer Wang is one of the most talented disciples we've had in this sect since its founding. She was a rough diamond waiting to be discovered when she first came here. Once we realized her talent, I immediately took her in as my disciple and taught her everything I knew about medicine and alchemy. That cheeky brat, she just absorbs all of my knowledge like a huge sponge. Oh, she's actually that talented? Yuan was surprised to hear this since he doesn't know much about Wang Xiuying besides the fact that she sometimes assists her grandfather, Dr. Wang, at his hospital. However, it was definitely a welcome surprise. We're here. They landed on a spacious hill where all sorts of plants and herbs could be seen growing at the bottom. On the top of this hill was a large building and a backyard with even more plants, and they seemed more valuable than the ones at the bottom of the hill. This is Healer Wang's residence. You can leave whenever. I won't be seeing you out. Sect Master Xiahou left him alone afterward. Chapter 9:14. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 9:14. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 9:14. Revealing his secret, Yuan went to knock on the door after Sect Master Xiahou left him alone. After waiting for a whole minute without any response, Yuan knocked again. Is she not online right now? It is a little late. I guess I'll come back tomorrow morning. Yuan logged off after not getting any response for a second time. When he returned to his own world, Yuan could immediately sense two presents beside him. What's the matter, you two? Yuan asked Meishio and Chu Liuxiang, who were staring at him like he'd been hospitalized for a long time. We should be asking you that, Yuan. Did something happen to you? You can talk to us, you know. We'll always be here to listen to you no matter what it's about. Chu Liuxiang said to him. We've been worried about you, Yuan. Meishio added. Is this about what happened today? Yuan sighed with a bittersweet smile. After pondering for a moment, he nodded. All right, I will tell you the truth. You deserve to know the truth, especially if we're going to be spending the rest of our lives together. However, I must warn you, what I am about to tell you is going to sound absolutely ridiculous and crazy. This is why I have been delaying this moment. I'm afraid that it might affect our relationship with each other. The two of them swallowed nervously, anxiously waiting for Yuan to reveal to them his secret. Once again, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually have memories of my past lives. Yuan said. Huh. The both of them muttered at the same time. I have memories of my past lives. Yuan repeated. W8. Past lives? Are you talking about reincarnation? Chu Liuxiang asked for clarification. Yes. I told you guys before that, the 9 heavens truly exist somewhere in this universe, right? I know this because I used to live there in the past. Tianxinyu. He was known as the Divine Paragon, Bane of Demons, and he was responsible for creating the demon sealing clan and most demon sealing techniques out there. I was once Tianxinyu. Yuan said in a calm voice. His partners silently glared at him with wide eyes, seemingly having trouble digesting such information. After a long moment of silence, Chu Liuxiang spoke in a low voice, almost as though she had a revelation. That explains why you're able to defeat demons with such ease and why you seem more mature as of lately. When did you start recalling these memories? Meishu then asked. Shortly after I regained my ability to move, I guess. Yuan said. But you don't have to worry about my past lives changing me too much. I am still Yuan at the end of the day and that won't change. However, I will be lying if I say that it's not taking a toll on me. I have only lived 18 years in this life, but in my previous life I have lived thousands if not millions of years. Although I have only recovered about 1,000 years of memories, that is still a lot for someone like me. Chu Liuxiang suddenly spread her arms and hugged Yuan, even pressing his head against her soft chest. You must have endured a lot. If there's anything we can do, your thoughts are enough. This is a burden that I must face by myself. While it's true that we cannot do anything to help you with your returning memories, if you need comfort or feel stressed, we can assist in our own ways. Meishu said. Thank you, you too. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Sometime later, Chu Liuxiang said, This makes me wonder if I had a past life, and if I do, what kind of life did I live? I would actually prefer not knowing. Meishu said. And she continued, What if I had some kind of tragic life that I don't want to remember? I guess you have a point. Chu Liuxiang then looked at Yuan and asked, Can you tell us some of your experiences in your past life? Did you have a wife? You lived for thousands of years, right? Surely you must have had a wife or two. Yuan smiled and said, No, I didn't have anything like that. However, I was engaged. You were engaged but don't have a wife? Did something happen? Yes, she died to a demon before we could get married. Yuan said in a calm voice, yet it sounded very lonely and painful. Sorry? I shouldn't have asked. No, it's fine. What happened was very tragic, but it was something that happened very, very long ago, and I am not Tianqinyu. Although his feelings remain, I know that I shouldn't become too absorbed in his memories and feelings. Anyways, thank you for listening and believing in me, he said to them sometime later. I don't know what's crazier, that reincarnation exists or that I've been fighting demons from another world. Chu Liuxiang sighed. Another world, huh? Something tells me that Earth used to belong in the 9 heavens. I'll ask the Lord after I take care of the last demon. The Lord? Yes. He promised to tell me about cultivation online and other stuff if I take care of the demons for him. Sometime later, Meishu went to prepare dinner. After dinner, Chu Liuxiang eagerly dragged Yuan to the bed and said to him as she stripped naked, This is the best stress reliever that I know of. Yuan couldn't refuse such a tempting offer and gladly accepted it, and they proceeded to relieve themselves all night. The following morning after breakfast, Yuan returned to cultivation online and tried knocking on Wang Xiuying's door again. The door opened half a minute later, and a beautiful young lady wearing a green and white uniform stepped outside. When this young lady saw Yuan's face, her eyes widened with surprise, and a bright smile immediately appeared on her beautiful face. Yuan, what are you doing here? Wang Xiuying said in a pleasantly surprised voice. Chapter 9:15. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 9:15. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 9:15. Wang Xiuying's alchemy flame. Hello, Xiuying. It's been a while. Yuan greeted her with a smile. I happened to be in the area, so I decided to stop by to see you. However, the smile on Wang Xiuying turned upside down for some reason. You're visiting me only because you happen to be nearby? Even though you promised to play with me when you ascend to this realm, she said with a puffed face, trying to act angry but somehow ended up looking even more charming. Yuan, I know that you've been in this world for a while and you're just visiting me now? I saw you at the Flood Dragon Scales auction too. Sorry, I have been really busy with many things until recently. Honestly, I forgot that you were here until I heard of the Spirit Healing Academy. Yuan said with an apologetic smile. I can forgive you, but only if you spend the next few days with me, she said. Sure. I had planned on staying here for the rest of the week anyway. Yuan immediately nodded. Really? That's great. I will show you around the sect and the things I've learned. Wang Xiuying immediately cheered up. Come inside. Wang Xiuying gestured. Yuan nodded and followed her into the building. What have you been doing lately, Yuan? I haven't seen your name in the announcements for a while. Wang Xiuying asked him. Your name used to appear in the sky almost every day, at least that's what it felt like. Yuan smiled and said, They were all coincidences. And it's not as though I am actively trying to have my name appear in announcements. Maybe you should. At this rate, the world will forget about your name. I did not start playing this game because I wanted to be famous, and I still don't care about such things. I know, but it hurts me, your #1 fan. Wang Xiuying chuckled. Yuan smiled and said, "It hasn't been that long since I last saw you, but I can tell that you've changed a lot." "I can say the same to you, Yuan. You look and smell more mature now." "A smell?" Yuan raised an eyebrow and he started smelling his own arm. She nodded. "Having a good nose is a trait of a good alchemist. Thanks to my master's training methods, my sense of smell has become quite sharp." "Your master, the sect master of the Spirit Healing Academy?" "Yes, I will introduce her to you later." "Sure." Yuan smiled. "By the way, what does maturity smell like? You can smell it on me, right?" He then asked. "I don't know how to explain it, but it's a distinct smell that you can easily notice once you understand what the smell really means." They arrived before a closed door shortly later. "This is my workshop. It's where I spend most of my time nowadays," Wang Xiuying said as she opened the door and entered the room. Yuan followed right behind her. Inside the spacious room was a large metal pot at the center of the room, but this pot had a very unique shape that Yuan had never seen before. At the end of each side of the room were drawers with labels. That metal pot in the center of the room is called a cauldron. It's what alchemists use to mix medicine and concoct pills. The drawers contain all sorts of herbs and medicines that are most commonly used. For the rarer medicine, I have to pick them from the medicine field growing at the bottom of the hill and in my backyard. If I don't have them here, I can request for them from the sect. Ah, this is pretty amazing. Is this all a privilege as the disciple of the sect master? Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Only this house and the land it's on is a privilege. I had to grow the medicine field by myself, and I had to raise my rank within the sect to receive support from the sect. You got all of this done in such a short amount of time? I'm impressed. In fact, I have been underestimating you. As expected of Dr. Wang's granddaughter. You're a genius when it comes to medicine, Yuan said in a praising tone. Hee. Wang Xiuying began blushing after hearing Yuan's praises. Anyway, do you want to watch me concoct a pill? Sure. Yuan immediately nodded. Alright, what kind of pill do you want me to make? I can concoct up to tier 3 pills at this moment. I don't know anything about pills, but something simple is fine. She nodded. Then I will concoct a superior stamina-enhancing pill for you. It's a tier 2 pill that will recover your energy and greatly increase your stamina. Sounds good. Give me a moment to gather the ingredients. Yuan watched as Wang Xiuying took out many different herbs from the drawers, putting them all on a long plate in a neat fashion. She then took a seat in front of the cauldron and patted the space right beside her. You can sit here. It's the best seat in the house, she said with a smile. Are you sure? Won't I bother you if I sit so close? It will be fine. Trust me. Yuan didn't say anything else and took a seat right beside her. Before I start, I should warn you that it will get a little hot in here even with the windows open. The flame will also be very fierce, but you don't need to worry since it won't harm you. Wang Xiuying flipped her hand with her palm facing the ceiling, and with some of her spiritual energy, a ball of green flames appeared on her palm. This is called alchemy flame. It's a special type of fire that requires a lot of training to control, and even most seasoned alchemists require years of training to control. Fortunately for me, I have a special physique that makes it incredibly easy for me to control alchemy flames. There are many types of alchemy flames out there, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Unfortunately, my alchemy flame is too weak to have its own name, but once I am capable enough, my master promised to give me a named alchemy flame. What a pretty fire, Yuan mumbled as he stared at the ball of flame floating on Wang Xiuying's palm. My phoenix fire is countless times more pretty and powerful than her weak-looking alchemy flame. Feng Yuxiang suddenly said, sounding a little unhappy and even jealous for some reason. Chapter 916. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 916. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 916. Wang Xiuying's alchemy. Seeing Yuan suddenly raise an eyebrow in surprise, Wang Xiuying asked him, is something the matter? No, nothing. Yuan showed her a stiff smile as Feng Yuxiang's comment had caught him by surprise. After all, this is the first time that Feng Yuxiang has shown such obvious jealousy, and over what? Wang Xiuying's alchemy flame? It didn't make sense to him. Anyway, I'm going to start now. Make sure you watch closely, since people don't normally get to watch me concoct pills, much less have such a view. Wang Xiuying suddenly flicked her arm with the alchemy flame, sending the green ball of fire flying at the cauldron. Her alchemy flame disappeared into a hole at the bottom of the cauldron, and within seconds the alchemy flame intensified, engulfing half of the cauldron with them. Yuan felt a heat wave hit him, almost as though he'd suddenly entered a desert, so he subconsciously protected himself with spiritual energy. A few minutes later, Wang Xiuying spoke, "Now that the cauldron is hot enough, I will begin throwing in the herbs." She acted upon her own words, throwing the herbs she'd gathered into the cauldron one by one every few minutes without losing control over the alchemy flame. While I melt the medicine, I must control the strength of my alchemy flame so that it doesn't burn the medicine but at the same time burn away the impurities within the medicine. An hour later, she spoke again, "Now that all of the ingredients are melted, I will intensify the alchemy flame, which will solidify the medicine into a pill. While the medicine quickly hardens, I must mold it into the shape of a pill, which is perfectly round like a marble. If I don't mold the pill properly, the pill will come out with inferior quality. And if I do it too slowly, the entire pill will go to waste. This is the most important step when it comes to pill concoction." A minute later, Wang Xiuying cut the alchemy flame completely and went to open the cauldron. "Brace yourself. There will be a lot of smoke," Wang Xiuying said as she opened the lid, releasing a storm of black smoke. "It's black because of the impurities. The darker the color of the smoke, the cleaner the pill will come out," Wang Xiuying explained as the black smoke quickly filled the room. A sudden gust of wind appeared in the room, pushing all of the black smoke outside the window within seconds. That wind was caused by a formation in this room. It will quickly clear out the smoke. Anyway, take a look at this pill. Wang Xiuying handed him a white pill the following moment. Superior Stamina Enhancing Pill, Tier 2, Purity, 98%, Effects, greatly boost your stamina by 30% for 1 hour and recover your used-up energy. Description, concocted by Healer Wang. Limit, once per hour. This is a pretty useful pill. Yuan looked at it with interest. "How much do you think it'll sell for?" he suddenly asked. You want to sell my pill already?" Wang Xiuying looked shocked that he didn't want to keep it. "It's only out of curiosity. I will be keeping this pill since it was a gift from you," Yuan said with a smile. "Well, it honestly depends on the quality of the pill and most importantly, the person who concocted it. If the person who made it is famous, it will increase the price of the pill. I am still a nobody outside, so it will probably go for around 1,000 or 2 gold coins, and that's entirely because of its purity, which is above 95%. However, I am quite popular in the sect and there are many disciples who want a pill concocted by me, so it could probably fetch for 2 to 3 times that price if you sell it in the sect," she continued with a prideful look on her face. "So do you spend most of your time concocting pills now?" "Yes, pretty much. I spend about 60% of my day concocting pills and the other 40% studying. There are so many different types of medicine, herbs, and pill recipes that I must remember after all. Visit Readle.me for extra chapters. You're very diligent, but don't you get bored of sitting in the same spot for hours? I don't think I would be able to enjoy life as an alchemist even if I have the talent for it." Yuan shook his head. "It's not boring. Although it might seem like I am just sitting there, I am actually very active and a lot of things go through my head. As for studying, well, there's nothing I can do about that. If I don't study, I won't be able to improve. Anyways, do you want any more pills? I will concoct as many pills as my idol wants," she said with an energetic face. "No, it's fine. 1 pill is good enough or it won't feel like a gift anymore." "I see. Then let me show you around my medicine field before showing you around the sect." "Sure." Yuan nodded. As they prepared to leave the room, someone started knocking on the door. "Oh, that must be my weekly quota," Wang Xiuying said. "Weekly quota? You have to work here?" Yuan raised his eyebrows. "I don't really need to since I am the sect master's disciple, but I asked to do it anyway, since it's good practice for me and it helps the sect." Sometime later, Wang Xiuying opened the door to greet the person outside. "Good morning, Senior Sister Wang." A handsome young man greeted her with a bright smile. "Morning. Here is your weekly." The disciple halted his mouth when he noticed Yuan's presence and his eyes widened with shock. "There's a man in Senior Sister Wang's living quarters. Who is this bastard?" he cried inwardly. "As Senior Sister Wang? Who is that?" Wang Xiaoying immediately realized who the disciple was referring to and said with a gentle smile, "He's my precious friend." When the disciple saw how Wang Xiaoying looked at Yuan, his eyes narrowed with hidden killing intent. Yuan noticed his killing intent and subconsciously smiled in a provocative manner. "Sup? To this bastard." The disciple silently gritted his teeth. Chapter 917. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 917. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 917. Medicine Fields, what's your name? The disciple asked Yuan after a moment of silence. "I won't stay here for long so you don't need to know it." Yuan calmly responded. "This bastard's asking for it." The disciple found Yuan's presence to be even more obnoxious after his response. Sensing the sudden tension in the air, Wang Xiaoying quickly interrupted. "Anyways, tell the elders that I won't be able to complete my weekly quota this week because I will be busy with something else. Sorry you came all this way for nothing." It's fine. Most people don't even get to see you because you're always holed up in your room. I am already satisfied with seeing your beautiful face this early in the morning, Senior Sister Wang. By the way, my master wanted to ask if you'll be joining the annual competition between core disciples tomorrow. I'll be there but I won't be participating so I'll only be a spectator." "That's good enough. As long as Senior Sister Wang is there I will be content. Then I will see you tomorrow." The disciple bowed to her before turning around and walking away. Of course he made sure to turn around to look at them, or more specifically Yuan's face, one last time before disappearing from their sights completely. "Who was that? Your servant?" Yuan asked afterward. "No, he's disciple Gu, a core disciple studying under Elder Tsang, who is the sect master's right-hand man. He's the second most talented disciple in the entire sect. Apparently he's from a very prestigious family. The title of number 1 disciple in the sect belongs to me, of course." Wang Xiaoying laughed out loud. "Surname Gu, huh? Why do I keep encountering them?" A mysterious smile appeared on Yuan's face. Having the second most talented disciple in the sect carry out such a mundane task, he must either be really bored or have too much free time. He said, "I heard that he'd personally requested to deliver my weekly quota. I don't know the details but I don't really care either. Anyways, let's visit the medicine field in my yard first. It's the closest and has the most valuable herbs growing." "Sure." Yuan followed Wang Xiaoying to her backyard, where she started showing him all of the plants that she'd personally grown. "How long do they usually take to grow? It hasn't been that long since you joined, right?" Yuan asked. "Most herbs here take less than a month to grow, but if you leave it for longer the herbs will have a stronger effect, but it will take years so we usually harvest them after a month. There is actually a secret garden somewhere in this sect with plants that have been growing for hundreds and even thousands of years. I asked to see it before, but I was told that only the sect master is allowed to visit the place for security reasons." Sometime later they went to the medicine field at the bottom of the hill, which was at least 100 times larger than the one in her backyard. "You planted all of these too?" Yuan was impressed. There were over 100,000 plants at the bottom of the hill, and all of them were neatly grown and well organized. "Yes. Besides being time-consuming, it's really not that difficult," she said. "The entire tour around the hill took almost 3 hours. Now that we're done with the medicine field, what would you like to see next?" she asked him. "I don't know anything about your sect, so I will leave it to you. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters." Wang Xiaoying pondered for a moment before speaking. "How about the alchemy store? We have one in our sect and you can even purchase alchemy flames there." "That sounds interesting. Let's go." Yuan nodded. Wang Xiaoying then retrieved a leaf and poured her spiritual energy into it, causing it to grow many times larger. "This is a flying treasure?" Yuan raised an eyebrow. "Yes, since the sect is so vast I was given this flying treasure to travel around the sect. Come, I'll give you a ride." "The flying treasure looks like it's only meant for a single rider. I can fly so you don't need to worry about me," Yuan said. "Trust me, it'll be fine." Wang Xiaoying suddenly grabbed his hand and pulled him onto the flying treasure. Although it was a little cramped at first, Wang Xiaoying made some room by hugging Yuan's body with her own body. "See? We have plenty of space." She chuckled. And before Yuan could even say anything, Wang Xiaoying controlled the flying treasure, and they flew away from the hill. While they were in the air, Wang Xiaoying purposefully made the flying treasure fly as slow as possible so that they could take their time. Look over there. That tall pagoda is the sect master's headquarters and also her living quarters. That building is the cafeteria for disciples within the inner court like me. They have some amazing food, but I rarely get the time to go there. Wang Xiuying introduced the buildings to him as they passed them. Meanwhile, somewhere within the sect, Master, do you know anything about the bastard with healer Wang? After leaving Wang Xiuying's place, Disciple Gu rushed to find Elder Tsang for more information on Yuan. He figured that if anyone knew about Yuan's identity, it would be his master, who is the sect master's right-hand man. Huh? What are you talking about? Elder Tsang asked. I went to give healer Wang her weekly quota this morning, and I saw this obnoxious man by her side. He was standing inside her living quarters and he wasn't wearing the sect's uniform either. Oh, healer Wang has an unknown man in her living quarters? This is definitely a surprise considering her usual behavior. Anyway, I don't know anything about her friend. If he's not a disciple, then he must be a guest. Did you check with the administration? All guests are required to sign in. And no, that completely slipped my mind. I will go check with them right now. Sorry for bothering you, Master. Disciple Gu bowed to him before leaving for the administration hall, where they keep a list of all visitors. Chapter 9:18. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 54 seconds AM. Chapter 9:18. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 9:18. Alchemy store. After leaving his master's side, Disciple Gu rushed to the administration hall. Good morning, Disciple Gu. How can we help you today? One of the elders there welcomed him with a bright and respectful smile. I want information on a visitor, he said. Of course. Who is this visitor that you speak of? I don't know, that's why I am here. Who is the visitor with healer Wang? Healer Wang. The elder raised his eyebrows as he doesn't recall recording any guests that came for Wang Xiuying. Let me check the log. The elder went to grab the guest logbook and brought it back to Disciple Gu. This page contains all visitors for the past week, but I don't see any guests mentioning about healer Wang. The elder said. Let me see. Disciple Gu grabbed the book and began scanning through all of the names on the logbook. The logbook contained the guests' names, age, their affiliates, and their reason for visiting the Spirit Healing Academy. However, there was nobody that came with healer Wang as their reason for visiting, and Disciple Gu went as far back as 1 month in the logbook. Impossible. Maybe he is actually a disciple and purposefully wore casual clothes to mislead others? What a crafty bastard. Disciple Gu now believed that Yuan was a disciple of the Spirit Healing Academy all along. After all, no visitors could possibly enter the sect without going through the administration hall. Why don't you try asking the sect master? If anybody knows about healer Wang's affairs, it would be her. The elder suddenly suggested. Are you crazy? I cannot possibly bother the sect master for something like this. And haven't you heard? The sect master of the Universal Music Academy had just been killed. She'll be very busy for a while. Disciple Gu sneered. What? Sect master's son had been killed? But the sect master of the Heavenly Academy said it was an unfortunate accident. The elder exclaimed. That's just a cover-up, obviously. Someone had infiltrated the Universal Music Academy and threatened their disciple that he would kill sect master's son on the same day that he died. I heard this from multiple disciples there. No way. If the sect master Li is willing to conceal the truth, there's a good chance that whoever killed sect master's son is someone that even the 7 spirit academies cannot touch. One of the 4 ancient families, perhaps? By the way, how is your family, Disciple Gu? I heard that they'd also encountered some kind of accident very recently. The elder asked. Disciple Gu's face suddenly turned cold after hearing such a question. Sorry, I overstepped my boundaries by asking about your family, Disciple Gu. Please forgive me. The elder immediately apologized. After all, the Gu family had sustained immense losses with the death of many experts and even 10 spirit lords. Their position within the 7 legacy families had dropped all the way to the bottom because of this mysterious incident, which shook the entire spirit heaven when news spread. Of course, the death of Sect Master's son wasn't any less shocking. Even though Sect Master Li announced it as an accident, rumors of it being murder still circulated. Disciple Gu didn't stay in the administration hall any longer and went elsewhere to investigate Yuan's identity. Meanwhile, Yuan and Wang Xiuying arrived at the alchemy store. The store was a massive pagoda that had 10 spacious floors. Look, that's Disciple Wang. Good morning, Fairy Wang. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The disciples at the alchemy store immediately recognized Wang Xiuying when they saw her. Who's that handsome beside her? He's not wearing our uniform. Is he a guest? Do you think he's disciple Wang's boyfriend? I saw them hugging each other on the flying treasure before they descended. They definitely have a very intimate relationship with each other. The disciples there also took notice of Yuan, who was not only very handsome but also emitted this unfathomable aura, which instantly charmed many female disciples. Let's go inside. Wang Xiuying said to Yuan after they landed in front of the alchemy store. Yuan nodded and followed her inside. The first, second, and third floor mostly consists of medicine and herbs, so we can go straight to the fourth floor. Wang Xiuying said as she walked straight to the staircase. Upon entering the fourth floor, Yuan could see many different cauldrons being sold. This is where we can buy ordinary cauldrons. The more valuable ones are on the fifth and sixth floor. Sometimes the pills can explode during concoction if you mess up, and the cauldron usually goes with the pill. Wang Xiuying said. Isn't it very dangerous to sit so close to the cauldron then? What if it explodes in your face? Yuan asked. Indeed, it is very dangerous. In fact, the cause of most disciple deaths within the sect is due to their cauldron exploding. However, that will only happen to ordinary cauldrons. There are cauldrons that have been enchanted with safety measures that greatly reduce the risk of injury, but those are way more expensive, and not all disciples can afford that. For the record, I have blown up over 100 cauldrons since I have been here. I am also on my 23rd cauldron from practicing Tier 4 pills. Wang Xiuying said, sounding somewhat proud of it. Yuan smiled. And how many times have you died? None. As the sect master's disciple, I am only allowed to use the best enchanted cauldrons, so no matter how many I explode, I won't die. Though I still get injured by them. So if you weren't the sect master's disciple, you would have died over 100 times. You're still as reckless as ever. Yuan chuckled. Anyways, do you want to get a cauldron while you're here? Wang Xiuying then asked. I don't do alchemy though. Why would I need one? Who said cauldrons are only used for alchemy? You can do other things with them as well. Wang Xiuying said. And she continued, such as cooking, brewing tea, mixing medicine, and even body tempering. Him? Did you just say body tempering? Yuan's interest piqued. Chapter 919. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 919. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 919. Buying a cauldron. Yes, you can temper your body in a cauldron if it's large enough to fit your body. Although I have never done it personally, I have heard of people doing that before, and they claim that it has a better effect than a bathtub since cauldrons are specifically made for medicine. Wang Xiuying confirmed. I'm more interested in the fact that I can carry the cauldron with me, which will allow me to temper my body wherever and whenever I want. Yuan said. Alright, I will get a cauldron. Great. Then let's head to the 6th floor. The cauldrons on this floor are too small, same with the cauldrons on the next floor. Wang Xiuying said as she made her way towards the staircase. Sometime later they arrived on the 6th floor. The cauldrons on this floor don't appear to be big enough to fit my body either. Yuan said. In fact, most of the cauldrons on this floor are only large enough to fit a few watermelons, not an adult body. That's because these cauldrons can change their size to become bigger or smaller. They're small on display only to save space. Wang Xiuying said. Oh, how big can they get? Well, it depends on the quality of the cauldron. Some cauldrons can become as big as an entire house, she said. Why would anyone want such a big cauldron? Yuan raised an eyebrow. If you're skilled enough, you can concoct more than one pill at a time. The bigger cauldrons are for those who like to concoct pills in batches, but that is easier said than done. Compared to my master who can concoct over 100 pills at once, I can only concoct about 10 pills. Anyways, go look around. Since you're my friend, I can probably get you an amazing discount. Wang Xiuying winked at him. Yuan nodded and began walking around the room. There were over 100 different cauldrons on display, each of them with a unique shape and color. Meanwhile, news of Wang Xiuying having a boyfriend began spreading throughout the sect like a wildfire. Have you heard? Senior apprentice sister Wang brought her boyfriend to the alchemy store. No way. She's taken. Since when? Who is the lucky bastard? Nobody knows, but he wasn't wearing our uniform, so he might not be part of our sect. The more people spread the news, the more exaggerated and chaotic it became. What? Senior apprentice Sister Wang's fiancé is spending time with her fiancé? Hey, you know what I heard? Senior apprentice Sister Wang is shopping at the alchemy store with her Dao companion. Disciple Gu eventually got hold of the news, and he immediately began speeding towards the alchemy store. That bastard was her Dao companion? Impossible. Back at the alchemy store, Wang Xiuying gave Yuan some recommendations. How about this cauldron of radiance? Oh, this 9 oracle cauldron looks very good as well. Yuan smiled and said, does it really matter which one I get? I'm only using it to temper my body after all. Of course it matters. Higher quality cauldrons can make them last longer, and some can even enhance the strength of the medicine. Hearing her words, Yuan turned to look at the price tag for some of these cauldrons. Cauldron of Radiance, 5 million spirit stones, 9 oracle cauldron, 7,500,000 spirit stones, visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Do you think I am made out of money? There's no way I can afford these even with a 50% discount. And why the hell are cauldrons so dang expensive? Yuan exclaimed. He already has a 5 million spirit stone debt under Feng Yuxiang, so there was no way that he could afford these for now, unless he sold the Gu family's treasures. Alchemy is an expensive career, but it will also earn you a lot of money if you're competent. Feng Yuxiang shrugged. After looking around the whole room, Yuan found the cheapest cauldron on sale, but even that was worth 1 million spirit stones. Stainless cauldron, huh? Are you sure? I will get the elder now if you have decided. Yuan nodded. All right, give me a moment. Wang Xiuying left his side and went to one of the elders working there. Elder, my friend would like to purchase a cauldron. Wang Xiuying said. The elder nodded. The stainless cauldron, correct? It will cost 1,500,000 spirit stones because he's not a disciple of our sect. What? I was actually hoping that you'd give him a discount, Wang Xiuying exclaimed. I'm sorry, Disciple Wang, but this is the sect's rule. It's not something that I can change willy-nilly. In case you forgot, I am one of only 4 people in the entire sect that can concoct Tier 3 pills with over 95% purity, and I have helped the sect concoct thousands of them. That's worth at least a few 100,000 spirit stones, yet I never asked for any reward. If I ask my master, she would definitely give it to me for free. However, I don't want to bother her, so I am asking you to give him a discount instead. He is a very important friend of mine. I hope you don't embarrass me in front of him. I am really sorry, Disciple Wang. I really want to help you and your friend, but I am a mere elder. I don't have the authority to make such a decision. Then I will stop concocting pills for the sect. Wang Xiuying suddenly said with a rebellious look on her face, shocking the elder. And when the sect asks why, I will tell them exactly why. Seeing Wang Xiuying's stubbornness, the elder felt like crying. Please have mercy, Disciple Wang. The elder eventually gave up and said, I will get the manager. He has enough authority to make a decision. Okay. Wang Xiuying didn't say anything else and returned to Yuan. What happened? Where's the elder? Yuan asked her when she returned alone. He'll be here soon, she said with an innocent look on her face. Chapter 920. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 920. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 920. Phoenix down. What? The sect master's disciple threatened to stop concocting pills for the sect if we don't give her friend a discount? The manager of the alchemy store doubted his ears for a moment after hearing the elder's words, who was on the verge of crying when he arrived. Can you please do something about this, Elder Bei? If Disciple Wang stops concocting pills, the sect master will kill us. Calm down, it's just a discount. We can just consider Disciple Wang as the purchaser, not her friend. Elder Bei said. Sometime later, Elder Bei went to greet Wang Xiuying and Yuan. Hello, Disciple Wang and her friend. I have heard the situation. It's just a discount, there's no need for such drastic measures. How does a 75% discount sound? Also, there's no need to pay for the visitor's fee, so the total will be 250,000 spirit stones. Elder Bei said to them. What do you think? If it's not enough, I can ask them to lower it some more. Wang Xiuying turned to ask Yuan, causing a bittersweet smile to appear on the elder's face. 250,000 spirit stones, huh? Do you accept treasures as a payment? I am currently short on spirit stones. Yuan asked him. Of course. We accept all sorts of treasures, but we recommend ones that benefit our sect the most, such as herbs and medicine. Sounds good. Please follow me to the counter. Yuan and Wang Xiuying proceeded to follow Elder Bei to the counter. Show me what you've got, Elder Bei said to Yuan afterward. Yuan immediately began dumping out the Gu family's treasure. Of course, most of these treasures belong to the Gu family from the lower heavens, as he has yet to remove the destiny seals from the other treasures. That's a lot of treasures, Elder Bei said. He clearly did not expect such a quantity of treasures from Yuan, and most of them appeared to be heaven grade and higher. Elder Bei also called for someone who can evaluate these treasures. Sometime later, Elder Bei picked 3 treasures out of the 24 treasures and said, I will sell you the stainless cauldron for these 3 treasures. The total of these treasures will sell for around 275,000 spirit stones, so we'll give you 25,000 spirit stones back. What do you say? Yuan pondered for a moment before speaking in a calm voice. Since you have an expert, I will also let my expert decide. Feng, what do you think? Feng Yuxiang appeared beside him the next moment, shocking everyone there. She ignored their gazes and looked at the 3 treasures and said, I can easily get 500,000 spirit stones out of these 3 treasures. Excuse me, but who are you? The alchemy store's examiner asked for Feng Yuxiang's background, which is very normal in these kinds of situations where one's qualifications mattered very much. You may not know me here, but I own one of the best stores in the lower heavens. With that being said, 15,000 years ago, I operated a store called Phoenix Down in Spirit Heaven. Have you heard of it? Feng Yuxiang said. The examiner pondered with a profound frown on his face. Phoenix Down? Why does it sound so familiar? Elder Bei wondered to himself. After a few moments of silence, the alchemy store's examiner suddenly came to a realization and exclaimed in a shocked voice, Phoenix Down. I remember now. There is a legend of a store by such a name. According to the legend, it was an immensely popular store that sold all sorts of treasures that could only be found in the 3rd heaven and above, and they were all being sold in Spirit Heaven. Furthermore, the owner of this store is a mystery, but rumors say it was a woman with beauty that outshines all treasures in the store. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. However, the store only operated for 100 years before it suddenly disappeared. Are you telling me that you're the owner of that legendary Phoenix Down? The examiner asked Feng Yuxiang. Although her beauty was definitely up to standards with the legend, unless she had concrete proof that she was the owner, it wouldn't matter even if she was the most beautiful woman in the 9 heavens. Of course. Here's my certification and license. It expired 15,000 years ago, but it proves that the Phoenix Down existed and that I was the owner of it. Feng Yuxiang retrieved a piece of paper and showed it to the examiner, who started trembling after seeing it. The examiner then retrieved his own certification and license to compare. It's real. She's the real deal. The examiner exclaimed in a shocked voice. Are you serious? Elder Bei swallowed nervously. Why would a legendary figure from 15,000 years ago show up now? Hell, where did she even pop out from? I apologize for doubting you, senior. And it's an honor to meet you. The examiner bowed to her after returning her certification. Feng Yuxiang silently nodded her head. Anyways, if senior claims the treasures are worth 500,000 spirit stones, then I will not argue. The examiner said to Elder Bei. Is that so? Elder Bei nodded. He turned to look at Yuan and spoke. I can give you 225,000 spirit stones and the stainless cauldron for these 3 treasures, or we can give you medicine instead. The 7th, 8th, and 9th floor contains medicines from Tier 5 herbs to Tier 5 pills. What do you say? Yuan pondered to himself. Medicine, huh? This is a good chance for me to stock up some medicine for my body tempering. Even though Feng promised to support me, I cannot rely on her for everything. Let me see what kind of medicine is available first. Yuan said a moment later. Very well. I will prepare the spirit stones just in case you decide to take the money instead. As for the stainless cauldron, you can take it now. Elder Bei said. Chapter 921. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 921. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 921. Body tempering pills, follow them just in case they wish to trade more treasures. Elder Bei said to the examiner before leaving them alone. Wang Xiuying led Yuan to the 7th floor shortly after. The 7th floor sells Tier 1 to Tier 2 herbs, medicine and pills. Since there are too many to display, they have it all listed in a book. Wang Xiuying explained to him after they arrived on the 7th floor, where thick books were displayed instead of the medicine. Yuan walked over to one of these books and started flipping through them. Mind-calming pill, body-reforming pill, 3 spirits pill, misty pill. There were over a dozen different pills at glance and there were hundreds of pages in the book. Yuan, if you want tier 1 and tier 2 pills, I can easily concoct them for you for free. I can also concoct tier 3 pills with over 95% purity. Although I am still learning to concoct tier 4 pills, I am making fast progress. Give me another month and I will be able to concoct them with 90% purity. Yuan smiled and said, thank you, but I don't think I need any pills. However, I am interested in treasures specifically for body tempering. There are pills for body tempering as well. They are called body tempering pills, and a single one of them can last you an entire week. They are also more effective than throwing raw medicine into the bath since pills are mixed better, and condensing them into a pill strengthens its effects. Oh, I'd like some of them. Yuan immediately said. Then I recommend tier 1 body tempering pills first. They're incredibly painful, so I suggest you get used to the weaker ones before using the stronger pills. Wang Xiuying said. Don't worry, I am pretty experienced when it comes to body tempering. I'll get a tier 4 body tempering pill as well as a tier 5 for today to test their effects. Tier 4 and tier 5. That's insane. Those are only recommended for spirit lords and above. Wang Xiuying exclaimed, unaware of Yuan's cultivation base. I'm a peak spirit lord. Yuan pointed at himself and said. Are really? But it hasn't even been that long since the mystic realm, and you were only a spirit master then. Wang Xiuying said. I have been consuming valuable treasures and medicine since I entered the sect, and I just entered spirit master. Comparing yourself to the young master is like comparing heaven and earth. Feng Yuxiang sneered. Wang Xiuying's eyebrows twitched upon hearing Feng Yuxiang's remarks. Why does she seem so hostile? Did I offend her somehow? She wondered inwardly. Anyways, I want to test out the body tempering pills today. Once I know what I want, I will return for more. They proceeded onto the 9th floor to buy the body tempering pills. After acquiring a tier 4 and a tier 5 body tempering pill, Yuan asked, what's on the 10th floor? Oh, you can buy pill recipes and alchemy flames on that floor, but only people approved by the sect master can enter that floor. Wang Xiuying said. I see. Anyways, is there a place where I can test out my new items? Yuan then asked. You can do it at my house. I have plenty of room and it's completely free. Wang Xiuying said. Sure. Yuan accepted her hospitality without any hesitation. As they made their way downstairs, Feng Yuxiang would return to Yuan's body. Esteemed guest, we still owe you 100,000 spirit stones. Would you like to retrieve them now? The examiner said to him. Those 2 pills cost 150,000 spirit stones? Yuan was speechless. Yes, the tier 4 body tempering pill costs 50,000 spirit stones, and the tier 5 costs 100,000 spirit stones. Yuan sighed, just keep them for now. I will be coming back later anyway. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I understand. When Yuan and Wang Xiuying exited the alchemy store, they were greeted by a massive crowd of disciples waiting outside. Wow, why are there so many disciples here today? Is there some kind of special event? Wang Xiuying mumbled in a dazed voice. Once the disciples noticed their presence, they began talking to each other. Look, that's him. So he's senior apprentice sister's Dao companion, huh? What? I thought he was her boyfriend. When did he become her Dao companion? He's a lot more charming than the rumors. I wish I was in senior apprentice sister's shoes right now. Some of the female disciples there were charmed by Yuan's unfathomable and mysterious aura. Suddenly, a group of figures walked out of the crowd and stood before Yuan and Wang Xiuying. Look, that's Disciple Gu. They're going to confront them. I'm not surprised. Disciple Gu has the hots for senior apprentice sister Wang after all. Wait, but why is the disciplinary squad following him? The disciples understood why Disciple Gu was there, but they cannot imagine why the disciplinary squad was there. After all, they are primarily tasked with dealing with rule-breaking disciples. Identify yourself. The elder leading the disciplinary squad stepped forward and pointed at Yuan. Yuan raised his eyebrows and spoke, Why? I am the head elder of the disciplinary squad. Who are you to question me? I am the law in this place. If I asked you a question, you answer it. Wang Xiuying quickly stepped in and said, Elder, there must have been a misunderstanding. This is my friend who is currently visiting the sect as a guest. So he's not a disciple, huh? You heard her, Uncle Gu. Disciple Gu said to him. In this case, Disciple Wang, this friend of yours had snuck into the sect without telling anyone, which is a violation of our sect's rules. He could even be a spy for all we know. And according to the rules of the sect, these violators may be punishable with death. What? That's nonsense. Elder Gu, my friend is not a spy. Wang Xiaoying immediately refuted. We will be the judge of that after we question him. Elder Gu sneered. Chapter 922. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 922. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 922. Disciplinary squad, you want to treat my friend like he's a criminal and question him? I will not allow such a thing to happen. Wang Xiaoying shouted angrily. Even if you are the disciple of the sect master, you cannot disobey the sect's rules. This man of unknown origin may be a threat to our sect, and as the head elder of the disciplinary squad, I will not allow anything to happen to our sect. No hard feelings, Disciple Wang. I am merely doing my job. Elder Gu shook his head. No. If you take him away, I will stop concocting pills for the sect. Wang Xiaoying said, shocking everybody there. Heavens, Senior Apprentice Sister Wang is willing to go so far for him? There's no doubt that he's her Tao companion. The disciples were shocked and impressed by Wang Xiaoying's boldness before Elder Gu, who is known for being ruthless. Senior Sister Wang, why must you go so far for him? Are you really going to risk all of your hard work in the sect for a guy like him? Even if you're the sect master's disciple, you can still be exiled from the sect for disobeying the sect rules. I will not allow you to make such a sacrifice. Disciple Gu stepped forward and said, as if my master will kick me out of the sect over something like this. And even if I get kicked out, the only reason I joined this sect is because of him. Wang Xiaoying exclaimed, leaving everyone there speechless. What? Senior Apprentice Sister Wang joined the sect for that guy? The disciples were in awe of her dedication. Even Yuan looked at her funny after such a claim. You joined the sect for me? But I don't remember asking you to do such a thing, Yuan said. I will explain it to you later. Wang Xiaoying said with a rosy face. Disciple Gu gritted his teeth in anger when she saw Wang Xiaoying's blushing face. Why does it have to be that bastard? Why is she not looking at me with those bashful and passionate eyes? Fuck. I swear I will kill you or my surname is not Gu. He cried inwardly. Uncle. Disciple Gu called out to him. Elder Gu slightly nodded his head and said, Disciple Wang, if you're going to continue this charade, I will have no choice but to detain you as well. The sect master is currently away from the sect, and she might not return for another day or two. Do you wish to spend the next 2 days behind bars? Your decision will greatly affect your reputation and position within the sect. Is this how you wish to repay the sect after everything we have done for you? All for this nameless spy. Wang Xiaoying gritted her teeth in anger and shouted, if that's what I need to do to protect. However, Yuan suddenly patted her in the back and interrupted, I will go with them. They're only going to question me, right? Then I just need to answer them truthfully. There's no need to escalate the situation any further or for you to make such sacrifices over such a small thing. I'll be back in a bit. Yuan? I'm sorry. If my master was here, none of this would have happened to you. But don't worry. As soon as she returns, I will tell her to help you. She won't refuse. Yuan smiled. I also have a feeling that she won't refuse. He left her side and started walking towards the disciplinary squad. Cuff him. Elder Gu said to the rest of the disciplinary squad. Yuan did not resist and allowed the disciples to cuff him with these weird-looking handcuffs made out of some kind of red crystal. Yuan expected some kind of special effect from the handcuffs, but he didn't feel any different afterward. Don't even try to do anything funny. These handcuffs are made out of spirit-sealing crystals, which will restrict your cultivation base when worn, so you'll be no different from a mortal without any cultivation. Disciple Gu said to him with a malicious grin on his face. Is that so? Yuan calmly shrugged as he could still feel his cultivation base. This reminded him of the time when he and Wang Xiaoying accidentally arrived at the ancient dragon city, where they were detained with the same type of handcuffs. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. See you in a bit. Yuan said while looking at Wang Xiaoying. Shut up and start moving. One of the disciples poked Yuan with a stick. Poke me again and see what will happen. Yuan narrowed his gaze at the disciple. The disciple immediately pulled back the stick and trembled in fear. Lead the way. Yuan calmly continued. Arrogant bastard. Let's see if you can keep your cool when disciple Wang is no longer watching. Elder Gu sneered. Wang Xiaoying and the other disciples proceeded to watch Yuan being led away by the disciplinary squad. After snapping out of her daze, Wang Xiaoying retrieved her flying treasure and disappeared from the alchemy store. Sometime later she arrived at the sect master's headquarters. Although sect master Xiaoho wasn't present, there was someone that could contact her in the building. Elder Yong. This is an emergency. I need you to contact my master immediately. Wang Xiaoying started shouting even before the door could fully open. An old man was sitting at the end of the room, and he lifted his head in a startled manner after Wang Xiaoying stormed into his room without knocking. Disciple Wang? What happened? I have never seen you this hectic before. The disciplinary squad took my friend even though he did nothing wrong. Hurry up and call my master. Your friend? Elder Yong raised his eyebrows in a questioning manner. Wang Xiaoying quickly explained the situation to him. I see. I understand the situation, but your master is currently in a meeting with the other academy sect masters regarding sect master Sun's death. It would be a bad idea to disturb her now. Let's just wait for her to return in a day or two. He said. Chapter 923. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 923. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 923. Message, that's too long. I need you to message my master right now. I will not allow my friend to experience such abuse in my sect. If you still refuse, then don't blame me for being dramatic when I leave this sect, since I am clearly not of any value to this sect. Wang Xiaoying said in an angry voice. What? You're willing to go that far for another person? Elder Yong was shocked by Wang Xiaoying's reaction. I will not ask again. Wang Xiaoying took out her sect's medallion and threatened to destroy it. All right. I will contact the sect master. Just calm down a bit, disciple Wang. Elder Yong sighed as he retrieved a brown talisman and mumbled some words into it. Go. Elder Yong infused his spiritual energy into the talisman, causing it to fly out the window the next moment, disappearing from the sect shortly after. The talisman would eventually reach sect master Xiaoho, who was in the middle of a meeting with the other sect masters. Should we really be hiding the truth about Sun Hao's death? There's already rumors of it being murder spreading around. Sect master Xiaoho said. It's for the best and it would even save us some face. Or do you want to let the world know that some junior had killed Sun Hao right before all of us, and that we allowed him to leave without doing anything about it? Sect master Li sighed. Furthermore, the less people know about Yuan's existence the better. How's the Universal Music Academy dealing with their sect master's sudden death? Bianju asked a moment later. Not good. Despite my warnings, they're all overflowing with the desire to avenge Sun Hao, and they're even looking for Yuan as we speak. Sect Master Li shook his head. What? That's insane. At this rate, the 7 Spirit Academies will be known as the 6 Spirit Academies. The sect master of the Steel Lion Academy said. Why can't they just find a new sect master and not cause more trouble for the rest of us? The sect master of the Lonely River Academy sighed. Sometime later, sect master Xiaoho suddenly turned to face the window with a frown on her face. What's the matter? The others noticed her odd behavior and asked her. Sect master Xiaoho didn't respond immediately and opened the window without getting off her chair, and a moment later, Elder Yong's brown talisman flew into the room and stopped before her. Sect master Xiaoho recognized the talisman and placed it on her forehead. Elder Yong's voice resounded inside her head the next moment. Sect master, I apologize for bothering you during such a time, but your disciple, Healer Wang, is threatening to leave the sect if I don't send you this message. Anyways, apparently her friend had been escorted away by the disciplinary squad for illegally visiting the sect and being a spy, and she wants you to do something about it. Sect Master Xiaoho frowned after hearing the message. It took her a moment to realize the situation because she was focused on Wang Xiaoying threatening to leave the sect. It's him? Her friend? Illegally visiting? The face of a handsome yet terrifying face suddenly appeared in her mind. Fuck. Those idiots. Sect Master Xiaoho suddenly cursed out loud as she jumped to her feet, startling the other sect masters. What happened? They asked her. Elder Gu and the disciplinary squad at my sect had detained Yuan, even accusing him of being a spy. What? Why is he in your sect? Sect Master Li asked. He's friends with my disciple and wanted to visit her. There was no way I could have refused. However, I didn't tell anybody about it, so they think he'd entered illegally and took him captive. Iche? Elder Gu. Isn't he from the Gu family? Didn't Yuan just kill 10 of their spirit lords and crippled their army? Bianju said in a nervous voice. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Heavens! At this rate, the 7 spirit academies will become the 5 spirit academies. The sect master of the Steel Lion Academy said. Sect Master Xiaohou began sweating profusely after hearing such words. I am sorry, but I have to return to my sect. Please excuse me. Sect Master Xiaohou retrieved her flying treasure and immediately began speeding back to the sect. We should probably postpone our meetings until that man has left this realm, Sect Master Li sighed. Hey, since someone from the Gu family is involved, shouldn't we notify Patriarch Gu? The sect master of the Lonely River Academy said. Sect Master Li nodded. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. He retrieved a talisman and mumbled to it before sending it flying towards the Gu family's direction. Ban and Zhu then said, I'm going to follow Sect Master Xiaohou. If the Universal Music Academy learns of his location, they will mostly try to avenge Sun Hao and attack him. I'll go with you. Me too. Thus, the other sect masters there began making their way to the Spirit Healing Academy while praying that nothing too serious will happen from this incident. Meanwhile, outside the alchemy store after the disciplinary squad took Yuan away, some of the disciples there spoke. Is it just me or does Senior Apprentice Sister Wang's Dao companion look familiar? I'm pretty sure that I have seen him before, but I cannot remember when and where. You too? I also thought the same when I saw his face. Wait. I remember. Wasn't he the one who severed the Universal Music Academy's sect master's arm during the disciple examination? That was him in the broadcast, right? Now that you mention it, holy shit. Didn't their sect master die yesterday? Rumor has it that he was murdered by the person who severed his arm. What? I thought he died in an accident. I don't like where this is going. While news of Yuan's presence spread throughout the sect like wildfire, Yuan himself followed the disciplinary squad and disciple Gu to some isolated area within the sect. They eventually arrived before a suspicious-looking cave that looked like the entrance to a dungeon. Chapter 924. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 924. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 924. Underground prison, is this place your headquarters? Judging by the outside appearance, I dare say that your disciplinary squad doesn't have a decent budget if any at all. Yuan chuckled. Shut up and go inside. Elder Gu said to him. Yuan shrugged and entered the cave, which led him to an underground prison that looked like it had been out of service for hundreds of years. Young master, should I just kill these ignorant and disrespectful fools? Feng Yuxiang asked him. No, leave it. I want to see what they're going to do. He said. He then said out loud, Hey, I am only being questioned, right? Must we do it here? It's so dirty that I can feel myself getting sick just from breathing in the air. Disciple Gu started laughing after hearing Yuan's words and he said afterward, You really think we took you here to question you? Just how dumb are you? What? If you're not going to question me, why did you bring me here? Yuan asked, continuing his act. Oh, we'll question you all right. The question is how we'll do it. Disciple Gu retrieved his sword and pointed it at Yuan. I don't care who you are. Since you dared to lay your filthy hands on my woman, I will make you regret ever being born. Yuan's eyes widened with surprise and he asked, Huh? When did I ever lay a hand on your woman? Don't act dumb. Healer Wang is my woman. I have had my eyes on her ever since she entered the sect, and I will do everything and anything to get my hands on her. Disciple Gu shouted. However, to their surprise, Yuan started laughing. What's so damn funny? Everything. Yuan smiled. I see. So you still don't understand your current situation, huh? Don't worry, I will help you come to a realization very soon. Disciple Gu began approaching Yuan, but he was stopped by Elder Gu. Uncle? Wait. There's no need to be impatient. I still need to question him. Once I am done, you can have all the fun you want with him. Elder Gu said. Chain him to the wall. He commanded the other disciples. Yuan didn't resist and allowed them to chain him to the wall in one of the prison cells. If you're smart, you will answer my questions truthfully. Elder Gu stood before him and began questioning him. What's your name? Yuan. What's your relationship with Healer Wang? We're only friends. What is your background? I don't have one. Which sect do you belong to? I'm what you call a rogue cultivator. I don't belong to any sect at this moment. What about your family? They threw me out for being useless. In other words, you're a nobody, which means we can kill you without offending anyone. You can forget about ever leaving this place now. Disciple Gu laughed out loud. What about Healer Wang? She'll be sad and angry if you kill me. Yuan asked. Don't worry about her. She'll forget about you once we feed her a mind invasion pill. Hey, what? Yuan raised his eyebrows. Young master, a mind invasion pill can alter one's memories, and that includes erasing their memories. Feng Yuxiang explained. A soon-to-be-dead man doesn't need to know. Disciple Gu said with a grim smile on his face. How did you sneak into the sect? Elder Gu continued to question Yuan. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I flew in here. With your sect master. Yuan said with a smile. What? Elder Gu immediately frowned. You heard me. You know the sect master? Not just the sect master. I also happen to know your patriarch, Patriarch Gu. We're practically best friends. He's fucking with us. Disciple Gu exclaimed. If you don't believe me, you can contact your patriarch and ask him yourself. Just tell him my name. He knows it very well. Shut your damn mouth. Disciple Gu suddenly rushed into the cell and swung his sword at Yuan, who was defensively chained to the wall. Wait. Elder Gu tried to stop his nephew, but Disciple Gu was too fast, and the sword in his hand was already in a swinging motion. Don't worry, I won't kill you so quickly. However, I will take one of your limbs. Disciple Gu laughed as his sword mercilessly chopped at Yuan's right leg. Ding. The sound of metal colliding resounded, and it felt like he'd struck a block of steel with his sword for Disciple Gu. The sword flew out of his hand almost instantly after attacking Yuan, landing a few meters away. What the fuck? He muttered in a dumbfounded voice. Surprised? Yuan asked him with a smile. You'll need a little more arm strength if you want to take my leg. I don't know what kind of trick that was, but you're still chained to the wall. What can you do in such a state? And the longer it takes to kill you, the more I will enjoy it, so resist as much as you want. Yuan suddenly yanked his arm, ripping the chains off the wall. He then snapped the handcuffs into two parts with ease. What were you saying? Yuan looked at Disciple Gu with a nonchalant expression on his face. I am possible. Those handcuffs are made from spirit sealing crystals. Did he break them with his raw strength? The other disciples exclaimed. You don't believe that I know your patriarch, right? If that's the case, then how come I have this in my possession? Yuan retrieved one of the treasures he'd acquired from Patriarch Gu and showed it to them. That's impossible. Why do you have that? Elder Gu exclaimed in a baffled voice. That's definitely one of our Gu family's heirlooms, the Grail of Truth. I can even sense our destiny seal on it. He cried inwardly. If you want to know how I got this treasure, go ask your patriarch. He was the one who gave it to me after all. Yuan said with a mysterious smile on his face. Meanwhile, Sect Master Li's talisman arrived at the Gu family's residence, alerting them of the situation at the Spirit Healing Academy. Chapter 925. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 925. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 925. Release him. Patriarch Gu, you have a message. The person who acquired Sect Master Li's message went to find him. What is it? Patriarch Gu was immediately annoyed. After his immense defeat and embarrassment caused by Yuan, Patriarch Gu has become easily irritable, so much so that even the slightest annoyance would cause his brows to frown and his blood to boil. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Academy has sent us a message, said the person with the talisman. Sect Master Li? What does he want from us? If this is about what happened recently, just ignore it. Patriarch Gu said. No. This is different. Although I don't understand the message, the Sect Master sounded a little nervous. The person handed the talisman to Patriarch Gu. Patriarch Gu sucked his teeth in an annoyed manner and activated the talisman. Sect Master Li's voice resounded in his head the next moment. This is Sect Master Li of the Heavenly Academy. Something has happened within the Spirit Healing Academy that you should probably be aware of, considering what happened to your family recently. Elder Gu, who is the head of the disciplinary squad, has taken Yuan captive and is currently questioning him. You should know firsthand what happens if you offend Yuan, hence this message. Fuck. This damn little brother of mine. Why is he messing with the one person he shouldn't mess with? And so soon after what happened between the Gu family and him. Patriarch Gu tossed the talisman at the wall in an angry manner. I'm going to visit the Spirit Healing Academy. Hopefully, I won't be too late to save his pitiful life. Not daring to waste any more time, Patriarch Gu flew towards the Spirit Healing Academy on his flying treasure. Meanwhile, Sect Master Xiaohou returned to the sect. A sect master? What happened to the meeting? Elder Yong was surprised to see the sect master return so quickly. Where's my disciple? She asked him, her appearance all messed up from the rush. She went to the disciplinary squad's headquarters after I sent you the message, he said. Anyways, what's this all about? I don't have time to explain. Thank you for sending me the message. Sect Master Xiaohou didn't explain any further and rushed to find Wang Xiuying. Looks like the Spirit Healing Academy is still intact, thankfully, Bainju said after the rest of the sect masters arrived at the sect. At the disciplinary squad's headquarters, Wang Xiuying was arguing with the disciples working there. Where did you take my friend? The sect master is aware of the situation, and it will only be a matter of time before she returns. If you let my friend go, I will not press charges against you. Wang Xiuying said. Please calm down, Senior Apprentice Sister Wang. We have no idea what you're talking about. What friend? The disciples at the headquarters were completely clueless. Nonsense. Your leader, Elder Gu, took my friend in for questioning. I saw it with my own eyes, as did many other disciples. You won't be able to cover for them. Why would we lie to you, Senior Apprentice Sister Wang? It's true that Elder Gu had left with some disciples some time ago, but they haven't returned since then, and nobody seems to know where he's gone. The disciple at the counter said, feeling an urge to cry. Are you serious? Then where did they take my friend? Wang Xiuying exclaimed. I'm sorry, but I wish we knew. They all shook their heads. Then do you know where they could have taken my friend? Wang Xiuying did not give up and continued to pressure them. Sometime later, Sect Master Xiaohou arrived at the disciplinary squad's headquarters. Sect Master. All of the disciples there greeted her the moment they noticed her presence. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. A master. You're back. Wang Xiuying rushed to her master with a relieved expression on her face. Now that master is here, they will have no choice but to release Yuan. Master. They called my friend a spy and took him in for questioning when he did nothing wrong. Wang Xiuying made sure to put on the most desperate and unhappy expression she could possibly make while asking for her master's help. This friend of yours, is he a young man named Yuan? Sect Master Xiaohou asked her, silently hoping to herself that Wang Xiuying had another friend besides Yuan. Why you know my friend Yuan? How do you know each? Yes. My friend, Yuan, was taken by Elder Gu in the disciplinary squad. Wang Xiuying nodded her head viciously. The frown on Sect Master Xiaohou's face deepened, and she immediately approached the disciples working at the front desk. Release him right this moment, she said to them in an angry and demanding voice. However, nobody there moved. Did you not hear me? I will not repeat myself, she roared, causing them to tremble in fear. A sect master. It's not that we don't want to release him. We don't even know where he is. Elder Gu hasn't returned since he left, and there's nobody in our cells right now. You can even check for yourself. The disciples there explained the situation to her. What? How is this possible? Sect Master Xiaohou frowned. Damn it. What the fuck are you doing, Elder Gu? Are you trying to destroy our sect? She cried inwardly. If he's not here, then hurry up and contact him. Sect Master Xiaohou shouted after snapping out of her daze. You tried that as well, Sect Master? Elder Gu isn't answering his communication jade slip either. Fuck. Sect Master Xiaohou slammed her fist into the desk before her, shattering it into countless pieces, shocking everyone there, including Wang Xiuying. A master? Let's all calm down a little, Wang Xiuying said, feeling completely baffled by her master's outburst. After all, Yuan was her #1 idol, friend, and patient, yet she wasn't anywhere as outraged and emotional as her master. Calm down. Do you have any idea who they're messing with? That crazy monster dared to kill Sect Master's son in front of the other Sect Masters for trying to hurt his friends. He will destroy our sect at this rate. Sect Master Xiaohou exclaimed. What? Everyone there was left speechless by the sect master's outrageous claim. Chapter 926. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 926. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 926. Answer my question or die. What did you just say? Yuan killed the sect master of the Universal Music Academy? Wang Xiaoying stared at her master with a look of disbelief on her face. There must have been some sort of mistake, master. Yuan isn't the type to kill another person. He's really kind and gentle. I doubt he would even hurt a fly. Sect Master Xiaoho looked at Wang Xiaoying and frowned. Are you sure we're talking about the same Yuan? I watched him kill Sun Hao with my own eyes. Of course, it wasn't as though Sun Hao was completely innocent. Holy shit. Senior apprentice Sister Wang's friend is responsible for Sect Master Sun's death? I heard of the rumors, but to think that it was actually true. The disciples there were shocked to learn the truth. We can talk about this later. We need to find them right now before it's too late. Sect Master Xiaoho suddenly said. Sect Master Xiaoho, what's the current situation? The other sect masters finally caught up with her and asked. What are you guys doing here? Sect Master Xiaoho asked them with a surprised face. We're here for insurance. All of our sects rely on the Spirit Healing Academy for pills and medicine, so we cannot allow it to fall so easily. Sect Master Li said. Although the Spirit Healing Academy is the weakest in the alliance in terms of prowess, they're actually the most important. Without the Spirit Healing Academy, the other sects will have to spend much more money on pills and other medicine. Sect Master Xiaoho proceeded to explain the situation to the other sect masters. What? You cannot find them? How is that even possible? I really don't know what's going on. Sect Master Xiaoho shook her head. She turned to look at Wang Xiaoying and asked, Can you tell us exactly what happened before Elder Gu took him away? Wang Xiaoying nodded and recalled everything from the moment she met Yuan to the moment they left the alchemy store, where the disciplinary squad showed up. What? Disciple Gu is also involved in this mess? If we cannot contact Elder Gu, maybe we can contact Disciple Gu through his master, Elder Tsang. Sect Master Xiaoho said. They left the disciplinary squad's headquarters shortly after and went to find Elder Tsang, Disciple Gu's master and Sect Master Xiaoho's right-hand man. Sometime later. Sect Master, and other sect masters. Why are all of you here? What happened to the meeting? Elder Tsang was shocked to see them gather inside his room. Elder Tsang, I need you to contact your disciple right now. Sect Master Xiaoho said to him. My disciple? Which one? Elder Tsang raised an eyebrow. Disciple Gu. Gu Zhiding? Did he do something? For the sect master to be asking for him? If he did anything wrong, I will personally lecture him when he returns. You don't have the luxury to wait. Hurry up and contact him. Sect Master Xiaoho suddenly roared at him. Elder Tsang nearly had a heart attack. Although this isn't his first time being yelled at by her, it was never this severe. Gu Zhiding, what in heaven's name did you do to anger the sect master to such an extent? Even the other sect masters are here. Fuck me. Elder Tsang cried inwardly as he retrieved his communication jade slip and called Disciple Gu. Meanwhile, back at the underground prison, a few moments after Yuan broke out of his restraints, Disciple Gu felt his communication jade slip trembling. Yonkel, it's my master. He's calling for me for some reason, Disciple Gu said to him. Ignore it. We have more important things to deal with right now. Elder Gu quickly said. Yuan smiled and said, Go ahead and answer it. I'm sure it's very important. Don't worry, I won't do anything. I promise. Shut up. Nobody asked for your input. Disciple Gu shouted. Yuan shrugged. Suit yourself. Answer me. Where did you get that treasure? If you don't answer me right now, I will kill you where you stand. Elder Gu suddenly roared, and he released his cultivation base that was at the first level of Spirit King. Are you sure you want to do that here? The ground will collapse on us if you act too crazy. Yuan said in a calm voice. I will not repeat myself. Answer my question or die. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. However, instead of answering Elder Gu's question, Yuan retrieved another treasure that belonged to their Gu family. That's. Even Disciple Gu recognized the treasure this time. Bastard. How did you acquire those treasures? Elder Gu was fuming so hard that his entire face was covered in bulging vessels that could pop at any moment. Go ask your patriarch. Yuan smiled. Then die for me. Elder Gu could no longer endure his anger and released his cultivation base at Yuan. Boom. The entire underground collapsed from the attack, but neither Elder Gu nor his people were harmed, as they were protected by his spiritual energy. Meanwhile, back at the sect, Elder Tsang shook his head. I have tried contacting Gu Zhiding many times, but he's not answering. Fuck. Sect Master Xiaohou cursed again. It was at this moment everyone in the room suddenly sensed a ripple in the air that was caused by Elder Gu's powerful attack. Did anyone feel that just now? Someone is fighting nearby. Judging by the strength of the ripple, it was caused by a spirit king. The only spirit king beside us in this place is Elder Gu. Sect Master Xiaohou said. Let's go. Everybody there immediately rushed out of the building and followed the direction the ripple was coming from. They arrived at the collapsed cave a few minutes later, and when they arrived, Elder Gu and the others were still at the scene, as they wanted to make sure that Yuan was dead before they left. Elder Gu. What is the meaning of this? As Sect Master. What are you doing here? Elder Gu had the same reaction as Elder Tsang, but he was more nervous. But before Sect Master Xiaohou could even respond, another person showed up to the scene. Elder Brother? Father? It was Patriarch Gu, and he had a terrified look on his face. Chapter 927. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 927. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 927. Grail of Truth, Patriarch Gu? What is he doing here? The other sect masters were surprised to see him as well. However, Patriarch Gu ignored all of their gazes and focused on the collapsed cave with a terrified look on his face. He then looked at Elder Gu and Disciple Gu. What have you two done? He asked them in a low and dispirited voice. Elder Brother. I just took care of some bastard that had stolen our Gu family's treasures. Believe it or not, he had our Grail of Truth and, you fool! Patriarch Gu roared. Did you not hear about what had happened to our family? Did you really think that we'd encountered a calamity? Patriarch Gu pointed at the collapsed cave and continued, the person you just buried was that calamity. What? Are you saying that he was the one who crippled our family and killed our spirit lords? If that's the case, then I have avenged our family. He's dead. Elder Gu laughed out loud. You really think you had killed him? Sect Master Li suddenly spoke and he continued, even 6 sect masters from the 7 spirit academies was not enough to defeat him. What? Elder Gu and Disciple Gu looked at the sect master with wide eyes. Boom. The ground suddenly shook, and before anyone there could react, almost as though a volcano had erupted, the collapsed cave suddenly exploded into the air. A figure could be seen flying out of the rubble a moment later. Of course it was Yuan, and he was completely unharmed. Why you? Elder Gu stared at Yuan with a shocked look on his face. How did he survive my attack? I used all of my cultivation in that attack. He cried inwardly. Yuan quickly noticed that there were more people than before. He glanced at them and smiled. Yuan, are you okay? Wang Xiaoying asked him while standing behind the sect masters on her flying treasure. Yes, I am fine. However, believe it or not, these guys just tried to kill me. I was so scared. Yuan chuckled. Yuan, listen to me. Sect Master Xiaohou suddenly spoke. What happened between you and Elder Gu and Disciple Gu has nothing to do with my Spirit Healing Academy. I came back as soon as I heard about it. Please forgive us. In fact, I hereby strip them of their statuses and exile them from my sect. They no longer have anything to do with us. What? You can't do that to us, Sect Master. Disciple Gu exclaimed in a shocked voice. Yuan nodded. Don't worry, I never planned on doing anything to your sect. After all, my friend is studying there. Furthermore, I am not so unreasonable that I would punish an entire sect because of 2 people's actions. He then turned to look at the disciplinary squad and continued, since you guys were only following orders, I will also forgive you. Now get out of here before I change my mind. The disciples following Elder Gu immediately turned around and started running back to the sect. Once it was just Elder Gu and Disciple Gu, Yuan turned to look at them and mumbled out loud, now what should I do with them? Not only did you plot to kill me just because I am friends with Healer Wang, but you also planned on feeding her a mind invasion pill to alter her memories. It wouldn't be unreasonable to kill the both of you, right? What? They wanted to feed me the mind invasion pill? Wang Xiaoying exclaimed in a terrified voice after hearing this information. You too. I'm speechless. Even the other sect masters were baffled to hear such information. Please wait. Patriarch Gu suddenly shouted. And he continued, I know they have wronged you, but please can you spare their lives? The Gu family will compensate for this incident. We will give you anything you want. Gu Zhiding is my only son, and that foolish young brother of mine is the only brother I have. If you kill them, I will truly have nothing left. Yuan turned to face Patriarch Gu, who had a desperate expression on his face. You want me to forgive them after everything today? What do you think happened when I forgave Sun Hao? He immediately ignored my warning and spat on my kindness by going to your Gu family. If I forgive them after everything they've done, they will definitely come back to bite me in the future, and I cannot risk doing that. Yuan said in a cold voice. It won't happen. I promise. I swear on my surname that they will not trouble you ever again in the future. Yuan turned to look at Elder Gu and Gu Zhiding, who were completely soaked in sweat. Tell me. If I forgive you, will you promise to never bother me or Healer Wang ever again? He asked them in a calm voice. We promise. We will never bother you or Healer Wang ever again. They both promised simultaneously. Yuan silently stared at them with a pondering look. After a moment of silence, he turned to look at Patriarch Gu and smiled. Patriarch Gu subconsciously smiled back. What a pity. Yuan suddenly said as his expression turned cold. What? The smile on Patriarch Gu's face immediately flipped upside down. Yuan revealed a certain treasure to them. That's. Patriarch Gu's eyes widened with shock. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. That's right. It's the Grail of Truth. As long as I have this, you cannot lie to me. Yuan said. Grail of Truth. Grade, Divine, Quality, Peak. Description, a powerful treasure once owned by the Sacred Temple of Truth. The Grail of Truth will expose all liars and emit a golden glow when someone lies before its presence. The Grail of Truth before them was glowing, meaning that someone had lied just now, and the only people that had the chance to lie were Elder Gu and Gu Zhiding. Wait. Give us a chance to explain. Elder Gu immediately shouted. I already gave you both plenty of chances and unfortunately, you just used up your last chance. Yuan said in a nonchalant manner. Help me. Father, I don't want to die. Gu Zhiding began crying with a runny nose. Please? You can even take away their cultivation. Just spare their lives. Patriarch Gu pleaded. However, Yuan pretended to not hear their voices and retrieved the Empyrean overlord, his intentions clear. The sect masters distanced themselves as they did not want to be caught up in their mess. Patriarch Gu wanted to stop Yuan, but he was afraid that by doing so, Yuan would take his anger out on him and his Gu family afterward. Therefore he could only use his voice to beg for their lives. Unfortunately, Yuan had no intentions to spare them. Here's a suggestion for your next life, stay out of trouble. Yuan said to them as he swung the Empyrean overlord, sending a powerful wave of sword aura at them. Elder Gu and Gu Zhiding were so terrified by the pressure that they couldn't even defend themselves. And right as the sword aura was about to hit them, a figure suddenly appeared before them like a ghost and blocked the attack. Yuan raised an eyebrow after seeing this newcomer with a face that he didn't recognize. Although Yuan didn't recognize this person, the sect masters and Patriarch Gu recognized him. Lord Ji? The sect masters exclaimed in a surprised manner. However, Patriarch Gu appeared to be more relieved than surprised, almost as though he was expecting this person to appear. This newcomer known as Lord Ji narrowed his eyes on his own arms after blocking Yuan's attack, feeling a little numb because of it. Who are you? Yuan asked him in a calm voice. Hello, young man. I'm known as Lord Ji and I am the current lord of this realm. My Ji family oversees the 9 heavens, at least up to the 4th heaven. Lord of Spirit Heaven? Yuan mumbled. He recalled such a thing being mentioned before, that every world besides the lower heavens will have a lord that oversees it. Because of my status, I don't normally intervene in conflicts that don't greatly affect the balance of the world. So me killing these two will somehow greatly affect the balance of this world? Yuan asked. No, it won't. Then why are you here? Yuan raised his eyebrows. Because a friend of mine asked for help. Lord Ji responded with a calm smile on his face. Chapter 928. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM Chapter 928 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again Chapter 928. Lord Ji a friend huh? Yuan glanced at Patriarch Gu, who looked much better than before in terms of appearance, almost as though he'd been resurrected. Lord Ji smiled and said, "There's no point in hiding the truth. Indeed it was Patriarch Gu who asked me for help. And to tell you the truth, I have been watching you ever since you came out of the stairway to heaven Yuan." "Huh? You have been stalking me since I came to spirit heaven?" Yuan was surprised to learn this information, even a little creeped out by it. Lord Ji laughed out loud. "No, I wouldn't call it stalking. I didn't physically watch you with my own eyes, I simply gathered information about you. You had piqued my interest, so I wanted to know more about you, to understand you. Unfortunately, I still cannot understand your existence even as we speak. Your background is a complete mystery, almost non-existent, almost as though you'd suddenly popped into this world. Tell me, where did you come from?" Lord Ji narrowed his sharp eyes at Yuan. Yuan remained calm and said, "Sorry, but I don't have the time to chit-chat with you." "Then when will you have time?" "I will think about it after I kill those two behind you." Lord Ji's eyes widened and he proceeded to speak in a surprised voice. "You still have thoughts about killing them even though I am clearly trying to protect them? No one has ever dared to stand up to me like this, not even when I was little. Of course, they tried to kill me and harm my friend, and they clearly won't stop even if I forgive them today." Lord Ji sighed. "Why don't you give me some face today and let them go, Yuan? I promise you that I will make it worthwhile. Nothing good will come out of going against my Ji family. Let's just be friends with each other, okay?" Yuan sneered at his words and spoke. "Unfortunately, I don't want to be friends with someone who is willing to protect these good-for-nothing that wouldn't think twice before plotting against others. I don't care if you're the lord of this realm or if your family oversees the 9 heavens. Nothing will stop me from killing these two today." The friendly smile on Lord Ji's face disappeared after he heard Yuan's words, and it was replaced by a cold expression. "You're going to challenge the stairway to heaven soon, right? I have no doubt that you will be able to pass the trials and reach the 3rd heaven with your talents, but once you ascend, you will not be able to return without my Ji family's permission. Once you are gone, who will protect your friends? Who will be able to stop me, or anyone from harming your friends?" Lord Ji narrowed his eyes at Yuan. Although Yuan isn't aware of it, Lord Ji was only bluffing. As the Lord of Spirit Heaven, he cannot act against the residences of the world he governs without a proper reason, or he will be punished by the heavens and have his authority stripped. This means that even if he hates someone with all of his guts, he cannot harm that individual unless that person does something that violates the laws of this world and blatantly goes against the heavens. With that being said, that doesn't restrict Patriarch Gu and his family from harming Wang Xiuying and the others once Yuan leaves this world, so that is a possibility. So what you're saying is that I should remove the Ji family and the Gu family from this world before I ascend to the next world, right? As much as I hate killing if it means my friends are safe." Yuan suddenly released his cultivation base. What a terrifying aura. Even though he's only a spirit lord, he emits a pressure that surpasses even mine as a peak spirit king. Lord Ji was shocked inwardly by Yuan's talents. Yuan's aura was so powerful that it choked Patriarch Gu, who was a spirit king. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Calm down, Yuan. I won't fight you. In fact, I cannot harm you until you attack me. Lord Ji raised his hand to surrender. "If you really want to kill these two behind me, I won't stop you." "What? Lord Ji? You cannot abandon them after giving us hope. It's too cruel." Patriarch Gu was shocked to hear such words. "Please, Lord Ji, save us." Disciple Gu cried out loud. Lord Ji looked at Patriarch Gu and said, "You know that I cannot physically intervene in your conflicts. I have already done everything that I could. I thought that words would be enough to stop this young man, but I was wrong. He's more crazy than I thought, crazy enough to threaten my Ji family." He then faced Yuan and continued, "I admire your attitude and boldness, Yuan. However, you have caused me to lose face before so many influential people today, and nobody that goes against me or my Ji family has ever gotten away unpunished. It might not happen tomorrow or a month later, but mark my words, I will not forget this slap in my face, Yuan." Despite showing no signs of anger, his voice was so cold that it caused everyone there but Yuan to tremble in fear. "This is your last chance. Choose wisely." Lord Ji suddenly moved away from Elder Gu and Gu Zhiding, giving Yuan a clear path to them. Yuan narrowed his eyes on Lord Ji, wondering if it was a trap. However, Lord Ji showed no signs of wanting to interfere. Please, spare us. We were wrong. I swear that I won't harm you or your friends in the future. Elder Gu pleaded. And me too. I swear that However, before Gu Zhiding could even finish his sentence, Yuan mercilessly swung his sword, killing the both of them with his sword aura almost instantly. Brother. Son. No. Patriarch Gu roared in despair. Lord Ji took a deep breath after witnessing Elder Gu and Gu Zhiding's death, and he turned to look at Yuan with a vicious face, who was looking at the Grail of Truth, which was emitting a golden glow. I would have spared them if this treasure didn't have a reaction. Unfortunately, Yuan sighed in a low voice. Chapter 929. Published at 7th of May 2022 5:25 and 55 seconds AM. Chapter 929. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 929. Heaven's Judgment, this crazy bastard. Lord Ji mumbled in a low voice as he watched Elder Gu and Gu Zhiding's severed corpses fall to the ground from the sky. Is this what it feels like to be opposed? How interesting. He smiled inwardly. He really killed them. Wang Xiuying was left speechless by Yuan's actions. She didn't think he would actually kill them. Sometime later, Yuan turned to look at Patriarch Gu and spoke in a calm voice. Are you going to avenge them now? Will you also plot to harm my friends once I am gone? However, Patriarch Gu remained silent. The Grail of Truth had a single weakness. If someone doesn't speak, it would not be able to detect any lies. However, by avoiding the Grail of Truth they might as well be a liar. After all, there would be no point to avoid the Grail of Truth if one planned on speaking the truth. If you don't answer my question, I will kill you as well. Yuan narrowed his eyes at Patriarch Gu, who trembled upon feeling such gaze. After a moment of silence, he spoke in a low voice, Kill me if you want. I don't care anymore. He then turned to look at Lord Ji and clasped his hands before continuing, Thank you for responding to my request for help. Even if you were not able to save their lives, I am still grateful that you came, and I am indebted to you. Lord Ji silently nodded. Patriarch Gu turned to look at Yuan again for a moment before turning around and flying away. Yuan narrowed his eyes at Patriarch Gu, but he didn't chase after him. Young master, are you sure you want to let him go? My experience tells me that he will definitely try to avenge his son and brother in the future. Feng Yuxiang said to him. I know. Yuan said. Then why? His eyes lacked any will to live and it reminds me of someone. I cannot kill him even if I want to, my body doesn't allow it. He sighed. The current Patriarch Gu reminded Yuan of himself during his early years as a cripple. He had no reason to live and he couldn't care less if he lived or died. This made him hesitant on killing Patriarch Gu. However, that doesn't mean I will allow him to harm my friends. They all believe that I won't be able to return to this place once I ascend, but that is not even close to being true. If he dares to try anything funny, I will come back down here and finish them off. What about this Lord Ji? His Ji family is incredibly powerful, even more powerful than the 7 legacy families. They will definitely try to suppress you, but I highly discourage you from fighting them. Although you might be able to defeat them now, you won't be able to deal with the Ji family in the upper heavens. Feng Yuxiang asked. I don't know. This Lord Ji is a weird one. I do not understand him at all. Yuan shook his head inwardly. And he continued, I guess we can only wait and see how everything goes. Once Patriarch Gu left the scene completely, Lord Ji spoke in a calm voice, You're really one crazy bastard, Yuan. Nobody has ever opposed me this openly. I'm both impressed and filled with rage right now. What do you think I should do with you, Yuan smiled and responded in a calm voice, You can forget about this incident. This is the best for both of us. Furthermore, you're not even supposed to be here in the first place. Lord Ji shook his head and spoke, Unfortunately, that is no longer possible. You have opposed me, causing me to lose a lot of face today. Personally, I am not one who cares too much about face, but the heavens watching us might think differently. If I don't punish you for opposing me, the heavens that have witnessed everything might deem me unworthy of the position of Lord and strip my status, and that is something I cannot allow even if it costs me my life. The heavens? Yuan raised his eyebrows and lifted his head to look up. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. They're watching us now? Lord Ji smiled, The heavens are always watching us, all of us. Is that any different from the saying that God is always watching us? Yuan wondered to himself. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to fight me and reclaim your face? Yuan asked a moment later. No, I won't fight you. Violence isn't always the answer, and the Ji family has their own methods to deal with you. However, let's see what the heavens have to say about this. Lord Ji suddenly retrieved a clear double-terminated crystal and raised it above him. Judgment. He shouted a moment later. A sea of white clouds began gathering above their location, but the clouds started turning darker in color as time passed. Within moments, the once white clouds were pitch black. Bang! A single lightning strike suddenly descended from the black clouds and struck the crystal in Lord Ji's grasp. The clear crystal began changing color shortly after, and within moments, it became just like the clouds, pitch black. This is... Lord Ji appeared to be shocked and terrified at the same time when he saw the results. He stared at the black crystal with wide eyes as the clouds began to disperse. Feng Feng, I have a bad feeling about this. Do you know what he's doing? Yuan asked her. The lords have the ability to call upon the heavens for judgment of certain individuals. This is my first time witnessing it personally, but I have heard rumors. If the crystal turns golden, it means the heavens are willing to forgive that person. The crystal can also turn red, but that means punishment for the person it judged. However, I have never heard of a pitch-black crystal before. Feng Yuxiang said in a puzzled voice. Is that so? Yuan mumbled, and they all patiently waited for Lord Ji to announce the results of his judgment. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.